How good is Jock Jams, dude?
Dude,
Jock
Jock
Jams,
Jams.
top tier musical collection of the early '90s.
Yeah,
I
dude.
don't know where I'd be without Jock
And
Jams,
then
honest.
the one chick that's like, you know what I'm talking
I
about
know
though.
exactly what you're saying.
You know what I'm talking about. You're
Yeah,
laughing, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, welcome to the end of the year show, 2024. We are here talking about not really retro games for
No.
the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
We did the entirety of all the growing
We
up
did-
with consoles.
We
and
did
stuff
all the
this year.
gaming in the world.
We did
all of it.
We beat video gaming.
We beat video games, everybody.
We beat
Ladies
'em.
and gentlemen,
We've done it.
we did it.
We did it. But yeah, this year has been great. This was
It's
our
hard to
first...
believe we're here already.
Yeah, this year flew by.
It flew by.
This is the first year where I think we both streamed to YouTube as well as Twitch as well.
Yeah, I
'cause
started my YouTube journey in June, July this year.
July.
July.
And yeah, it's been a great year, man. Like, my channel grew quite a bit. Like, my YouTube channel grew like way more than I was kind of expecting. Our
Yeah.
Twitch channels were popping off. The Discord is on fire. Like always, we have the best community on the internet.
My
Period.
YouTube channel grew 150 times this year.
I mean, that's true. That is true. Mine
It did.
grew
That's legit.
1.5 times.
Well, and then
So
you
far.
had that thing.
Oh yeah, when
and
we
then,
were
and
setting
then
up
you
for
came back up.
Yeah, when we were setting up for Spectrefest, I actually had where I lost 80 subscribers. I think it was about 80.
100 people were like, you know what?
Fuck this guy.
I'm not hanging out with this guy anymore.
This guy's trying to fix his
He's
stream
trying to
before a
fix his
charity.
stream. That's not allowed.
Fuck this guy.
But yeah, happy to report it's working now, though, right?
Yeah, it's all good.
We're good.
It was
All good.
acting up a little bit again, but it's
Acting the
good.
fool.
It's good now. So
No, we're in good shape. No, it's been a phenomenal year. Everything about it. And like I said, you know, it's hard to believe that we're here already. That's kind of been the motto of the year, is
Yeah,
that
this
things
year
have
really
gone
flew.
by so quickly. When we went through Spectrefest, we both said like the 24 hours flew by.
yeah, even
Like
yeah,
literally
that did,
flew
yeah.
right by. It was
But the whole
it did
year,
nothing
really.
dragged. The whole year's been that way.
But I think that's because it's kind of been a fun year, man.
It's been a good year. Things are on the upswing. There's lots of negativity out there, but there's lots of positivity in here.
Yeah, in your pants right now.
Right in there. All up in there.
But yeah, every year we do a kind of our favorites and least favorites of the year when it comes to
rundown.
literally everything. So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what this podcast is all about.
Yeah, we want to celebrate not only the year, but we want to celebrate our community. We want to celebrate gaming in general. We want to just want to have a conversation about like where we're at as 2024 comes to a close and 2025 gets ready to get started. You know where we're at.
Yeah, exactly.
As a collective.
So I want to start off by saying, like, we had a lot of really, really good games come out this year. But I also want to say that I never really got to most of them.
Yeah,
So,
I did not play a lot of new release games this year. I
Yeah.
did play a couple,
yeah,
but I
same.
didn't play a lot.
A lot of great games were played, not all of them new, basically.
A lot of old games.
Yeah.
I said that last year too.
I think every year.
I'm dipping more and more into retro as we go further on because a lot of the new games just don't appeal to me, right?
Yeah,
the
that's true.
concepts of like the microtransactions and the battle pass stuff and every game needs to be a battle royale, and like we haven't really. There's a lot of bright spots, and as we'll kind of get into it, but a lot of really awesome stuff on the horizon. But like I think we're finally coming out of the world of like games that just exist to charge you money,
Yeah, and I was gonna say that too. I think things are
right?
honestly getting better, and this year was kind
Feels
of the
like we're
turnaround of that.
feels
I
like
mean,
the
look
pendulum
at
swinging
what
the
was
right
that
way.
Concord? That game just like sunk like a rock, which is
Yeah,
awesome. Like that's what we want to see, and like yeah, it's just all these like games of us as a service. Buy the game and then keep
yeah,
paying me money to play it. Like
exactly.
that
Yeah.
that is slowly people are finally turning on that,
Just
which is
they're finally
so
just
good.
waking up. Yep. Yeah, I haven't heard a lot from the Final Fantasy 16 and the Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth crew
Yeah,
about how great their game was after Dragon Quest 3 released. A
yeah.
remake of a game on the NES, and it outsold them all. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's doing great, man.
It's doing great.
It's been
So
awesome. I mean, I was literally just playing it as we were setting up. I'm like 72 hours
hook
in.
it to my
Yeah,
veins.
I'm going for the platinum trophy. I gotta say, the post game dungeon absolutely miserable, but something you just gotta get
if
through it if
you're
you want
if you're
that
so
platinum.
if you're so hardcore that you're gonna run through that dungeon, it's got to be a challenge,
I guess,
right? It
right?
can't be a cakewalk. So
Yeah,
I mean, I
exactly.
get it. That's not that you won't find me in there. Let's just say
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. All right, so I never freaking know where to start with this list because I
Sure.
don't want to start with like the big hitters, right? So I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm thinking if
I
we
think
start with like most surprising, work our way down, and then come back up
sure,
to the top.
sure, sure.
So let's start. Yeah, let's start with the most surprising game that you played this year,
Okay.
and you kick it off.
I put down. So I put what I put down was Guardian Heroes.
Oh,
I really like Guardian Heroes. So
yeah, it's
you and I
good,
played
man.
it. I had come to visit you. We were recording that stuff for Spectre Fest, and you're like, "Hey, you want to hang around for a bit? Let's play this Saturn game by
Yeah.
Treasure." And I didn't like it at first. I was really
Well,
not
it's
happy
hard
with
until
that
you
game.
get used to it.
It had a very steep learning curve, but once you understood the concept, by the end of our session, I was like, okay, I get it now. I
Yeah.
understand the concepts of this game. And I kind of just connected with you, and it made me want to get this Saturn stuff going.
Yeah.
Um, I would say that's the most surprising. Now, I put an asterisk behind that because from that from Guardian Heroes, I went into the Saturn library
Oh
and
yeah.
I started discovering all these games that the Saturn had that I had no clue even existed.
Yeah, the Saturn's
There's a
great.
load of games on the Saturn, and it makes me a little sad that it was basically kind of passed over in that generation's,
Yeah.
console battles, right? The between the PlayStation, the 64, and the Saturn was a definite third place in
Yeah,
that list.
absolutely.
And I
Which is
think it was a third place because of what happened with the Genesis, right?
yeah, I think so cuz it lost Sega lost kind of the consumer trust, right? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
you had the 32X, well the Sega CD came out
Hmm.
and people were like, "All right, like maybe let's get this. Like it's disc-based gaming, it's going to be the future and all that." And then
Yep.
they like didn't make very many games for it, and then they came out with the 32X cuz the PS1 came kind of I think either came out or was
They
about to
wanted to
come
get
out.
onto the 32-bit
Yes.
bandwagon.
And then I really like the 32X,
32X was solid, but
but there's like 12 games for it. Like there's not very many
yeah,
games.
and a
Like maybe
very
32
limited
games.
catalog.
Maybe that's what
Very limited
maybe
catalog.
that's what the plan was. Let's call it the 32X, make it
And
32-bit and only release 32 games.
yeah, and it was the beginning of like the bad decisions of Sega. So it's disappointing because as I look through the catalog for the Saturn, I'm like, this game's awesome. This
Yeah.
game's awesome. This game's awesome. This game's great. Like, and so yeah, the more games that I kind of go through there, I'm finding gem after gem. There's a lot of stinkers. Don't get me wrong.
But you get that with all consoles.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
It's the ratio, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just like anything else. So, but yeah, I put Guardian Heroes down here because that was the most surprising game that I played this year. It literally came out of nowhere. And it was so good that I ended up writing that kind of I hate to call it a game review. It's more just kind of like just talking about it.
Yeah.
And I made that video, and it actually did pretty decent for my channel. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Guardian Heroes, one of my favorite beat 'em ups of all time. Eventually, I'll actually finish my top 10 beat 'em up games video, but we'll see. We'll see when that gets done. But yeah, the Saturn was really really good.
it's
Honestly,
a great console.
A lot of
And that
people.
controller. Ooh,
Oh, the best
love that controller.
2-bit 2D game controller
yeah.
of all time in
The
my opinion.
pre joystick controller. I mean, that one is great. Yeah, great.
I always find it funny though, because people either had like the PlayStation or the N64 kind of in that generation, and
Yep.
like I am an avid N64 hater.
Not a big fan.
There's
of the
like
64
6 good
controller.
games maybe on the N64. And it's funny because people that like got the N64 will be like, I'll give PlayStation its flowers. But the Saturn was pure garbage. And then the Saturn has like probably 4 to 5 times the games that the N64 had. Like the Saturn had over 1,000 games in its library, and the N64 had like 200 or something like that. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't very many.
The problem with the Saturn's library is most of the releases were Japanese,
Yeah.
not necessarily North American. But some of those games, man, like unreal, and some of the JRPGs on that system,
Yeah, there's some good
insane.
stuff. And then the thing is, a lot of the games that were also on the PlayStation, the better version was usually
Was on the Saturn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like voiceover in the games and stuff too. It was like a lot of it was really ahead of its time. So
Yeah,
it was going through the catalog is a little disappointing. I've told you before, I've always wanted like the hardware. I've always wanted the actual Saturn. But yeah, so it's a little disappointing that I wasn't able to get it back in the day. But it is awesome now that I'm getting through it. So
Yeah, for sure.
what about you, man? What surprised you this year?
So my most surprising game, and I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be this good, and that is Phantasy Star 4. I think it was last year I played the original Phantasy Star, and I think it was
Yep.
my most surprising game and like one of the
Yep.
best games I played all last year. And this year I wanted to kind of play the rest of the classic Phantasy Star games. And when I got to 4, sorry, I was like really really blown away because 2 was like not very good. And
Yep.
then 3 was like most people were telling me that 3 was the worst one, and I don't think it's the worst
You
one.
didn't. You definitely
not
said
bad.
2
Like,
was
it's-
the worst.
Yeah, 3's not bad. It's just not good either.
It's like real mid.
It's like a 5 out of 10 game, maybe
Yeah.
6 out of 10. But you take, and then you jump from that into Phantasy Star 4, which kind of like connects all of them, and like it did such a good job. The other thing is, I don't know. It just harkens back to the first one. Like if you're gonna get into the classic series, I highly recommend, if you're not gonna play all of them, to check out the first one and then play 4 after that, because there's so many like little shout outs to like the lore and stuff like that. It's so well done. The gameplay, there was like a really big twist about halfway through the game that completely threw me for a loop, which never really happens in like a 16-bit game. Like you had it happen a few times in like Final Fantasy IV and stuff like that.
Right.
But other than that, like I've never seen a twist like this. Like they never like it was something I would never have foreseen, I guess I should say. Whereas like a lot of games have like tropey twists and stuff like this. This comes completely out of left field, and it really threw me off.
Yeah, you really liked 4.
Yeah, it was so good.
I remember when you played 2 and you're like, this game's awful, because did you finish 2?
No, God no.
No, you pulled the plug on it because you're like, this is not good at
No,
all.
it was really bad.
And then as you were like, you went through 3, and then you still weren't blown away.
No,
And
I ended up
remember,
playing. I played 4 because I was like, people say 3 is worse than 2, so there's no way I'm playing 3.
Oh, so you
then I
skipped
played
it.
4, and
And then you
4
went
was
back.
really really good. And then I was like, you know what? There's no way 3 can be worse than 2. So
Got
I
it.
went back and then played 3 kind of after.
It's just when you jumped into 4, just remember you had like a little bit of hesitation. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, well we'll give it a try, but if this goes the same way, we're out of here.
Yeah.
And then you kind of got hooked, and you were just in. So
It was so good. It was so good. Highly recommended,
Totally.
especially for like a Genesis JRPG.
solid game.
Yeah.
Solid game.
So next up is, let's just go straight into most disappointing game played this year. Speaking of Phantasy Star 2,
Sure.
that was
Yeah.
that was my pick. Was
That
Phantasy
was
Star
your kick,
2.
hey? I mean, it
'Cause
makes sense.
It was fucking the worst part is, and this has happened to me, I think almost every year, where like there have been like people online and like sometimes in my chat even that are blowing this game up and telling me how good the game is. So I go in not only like just excited to try a new JRPG, but
Yeah.
absolutely hyped for like
You got some hype.
this like masterpiece, right?
Because they're like, if you liked Phantasy Star 1, just wait till you get to 2. It's
Yes.
so good.
And then
Yeah.
I played 2 and it was just so bad. Like, okay, I don't mind. Like, people are like, oh yeah, the encounter rate's a little bad, but it's like, dude, I love grinding. But this game, you got like 2 EXP for like killing like an entire wave of enemies. You get an encounter like every 3 steps, and then the dungeons are like giant gymnasiums. Like, it's like, you ever watch you saw the movie, like, what is it, Idiocracy?
Yep.
You know the Costco, how it's basically a city?
Welcome to Costco. I
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah. So Costco, so every dungeon in Phantasy Star 2 is the size of the Costco in fucking
Yeah,
it's awful.
I remember watching you play that game, and I think I told you multiple times because I was hyped to play Phantasy Star as well, because I wanted to play. I got the Genesis, I got the Master System stuff. I've always loved the Master System, and I was like, I'm gonna play Phantasy Star. You're like, this is great. Here's the best ways to play Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
This is what I recommend. And then you were about to go into 2, and I was like, okay, well, I'll check out 2 while you're playing it. And I was just like, well, that's it for this one. I just took it off my list.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like, I'm never
garbage,
gonna
dude.
play this game.
It's
There's
so
a
bad.
0% chance of me ever playing this game.
So bad. But yeah, and then guys, if you do want to play Phantasy Star 1, grab it on the Switch, the Saga Ages version on the Switch, because it has the self-filling mazes.
map.
Yeah, map for the dungeons. Because the dungeons in that one are like the classic first-person kind of like mazy dungeons.
Yeah.
So it
You
was.
gotta know where you're going.
Yeah, you got to know where you've been too, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that was my most disappointing game. What was yours?
So I put Last Dream as the most disappointing
Oh
game
yeah,
I played.
you just rage quit that like last week.
Literally, like last week,
Yeah.
I was running through, and the worst part was like the game started off good, right? Like it had a good vibe to it. For anyone that doesn't know, Last Dream is a
It's like an RPG
it's as close.
maker game.
Yeah, it's an RPG maker game, but it's very regularly described as the RPG maker game. Like it's the definitive like drives the game kind of thing. Take OG Final Fantasy and like Dragon Quest, smash them together. That's basically what you get
Right.
out of this. A lot of complex mechanics in it, a lot of puzzles in it, and the last one that I was doing, so the
Was-
puzzles at least up to this point have made sense. It's like
Yeah.
you're in a forest, you push a log from here to here, you unlock things, you get a treasure chest, and you're great.
Yeah.
The one that killed me here was literally one of those number slide puzzles.
Number shuffle.
It
Yeah.
was a number shuffle. Like it didn't even make any sense. It was just like
The
it was
laziest
just lazy.
fucking.
It was just so
oh
lazy.
my god.
And then not only that, but like it wouldn't get into right spot, and I couldn't get it. And I was just sitting there wasting so much time. And at this point too, I was going through like this ice cave where every single step hurt me.
Yeah.
So then I had to stop every 10 seconds. And by the way, I had grinded for like 6 hours before this
Mhm.
because I had already gone in here once and died. And I was like, okay, clearly I'm not able to get in here. So I grinded from like level 22 to level 30. And then I was like, that should be more than enough to get
Yeah,
in here.
you would think.
Like I blew all of my MP healing myself, trying just to survive this thing. And I'm like, you know what? Why am I doing this? And I was like, forget it. Like this is I'm done with this. So it's disappointing because it started off really strong. The story was not.
Yeah,
The
that's what I
story
heard.
was a 5 of 10. Like it wasn't. The story was definitely not strong. The people who would get the most out of that game are like the min-maxer JRPG people. I need to have like the best stats, and they know how to build a character, and they know the best items, and they know how to put all these pieces together. I like the game to play itself a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's unfortunately. Other than that, I gotta say, I went back through my streaming history of all the games that I played this year,
Yeah.
and it was banger after banger for me this year.
Oh, that's good.
That is honestly the one like black mark on the record kind of thing. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but every now and then I come across one where I'm like, nah, and I just pull the plug and I'm
Yeah,
out
you got it,
completely.
man.
So yeah.
I had a couple stinkers, I think, this year, but I don't know. I had written a different one down, and then somebody reminded me that I played Phantasy Star 2. Apparently, I just blacked it out of my fucking memory. So I had to delete what I had in there
It was
before.
so bad. You just had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one. So it was actually two different streams for last stream that I ended up pulling the plug early on, and that's why it clinched it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
No other game did I leave the stream early this year because of playing it. Every other game I played was great.
Fuck. Yeah, that sucks. There's nothing shittier too than
Yeah.
when you're wanting to play a great game.
Yeah.
Somebody, maybe your friend recommended it, right? Because they
Well,
enjoyed it. They wouldn't recommend
Exactly.
it if they didn't.
Yeah. Both Fates and Finney said it was a great game, but
Yeah.
I see why they like it because they are very tactical and strategic minded.
Yeah.
And they can see that, right? They have the ability. Like I've seen Fates play these games, man, and the dude has
like the Saga
like a
games and stuff
beautiful
like that.
mind kind of thing where you can just look at that character and be like, I need this much strength, this much magic, this
Yeah.
much defense, this much this, and he's just like blah blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. I kept having to ask Finney to help me build my characters for me
Yeah.
because I was like, I don't know, dude, how to put this together. So, yeah.
I
So,
just like to run in a circle, punch monsters until I get strong enough to punch stronger monsters. That's
Exactly.
it. That's how I like it.
That's I'm in the same boat.
So next, let's go into favorite stream to watch this year.
Yeah. So speaking of Fates, I put Fates as my favorite stream to watch this year. So I have quite a few people on my follow list.
Yeah.
Fates, like, but if because you and I don't count, I can't say you
Yeah.
can't say me. We're off each other's list. Because if we're talking watch hours, I'm in your channel significantly more than anyone else's. But Fates was number 2 for me this year. And it's because his friggin' DDR streams
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday morning.
on the weekend, and I started playing that Stream Raiders game that he's got on
Oh,
his channel.
yeah, he's always playing that.
It's so much fun. It's stupid, but it's fun. And so I've started boosting my like archer guy. And so what happens is Fates will put this on, and if I come in with my archer for some reason, all of a sudden we get these random people showing up, and he ends up with like an army of like 50 people.
Holy
He's
crap.
he's like, I don't know what it is about you and your archers, but when it's just me, it's just like 3 people on the battlefield. When you roll in with your archers, there's like 60 people here.
Holy.
I'm like, I know, man. That's what I do. I was like, our arrows will blot out the sun. Right? Like, it's just so stupid.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, I've been spending a ton of time in Fates' stream. He puts on such a good show.
Yeah, he
It's
does.
criminal that he does not have a bigger audience, because if you are in for a chill stream, you want a positive dude, and
Yeah.
he's interactive with the stream. Like he's got channel point redemptions for him to put on like a wig or a hat. Like
Read
he
a
does
book.
these stupid
He's got like
things.
those
There's a
like
lot of dumb
adult
things.
children's books he'll read.
It's a lot of fun. And his
Yeah, he's
DDR stream is great, and for good. He said he started doing that because he was getting overweight, or he was thinking that he was overweight, and this is how he wanted to lose weight. And he started playing it, and he wasn't great at it. Now, dude, I watch him play a game, I have no clue how
Yeah,
he's
he's so
freaking
good.
He's really good. So yeah, you gotta check Fates. It's GWG_Fates. Thank you, Fates, for renaming yourself this year
No
as
doubt,
well,
dude. He used to have the
because it's a lot-
longest.
It's a lot
name on
easier to
Twitch.
raid out to you as well. But how about you? Where do you find yourself on
So
on
this
Twitch
year,
nights?
I found this year, Fates and I a lot of times were streaming at the same time. So
mhm.
Fates, I know Fates won last year for me. But this year, it was actually a new channel that I started watching, and I started watching it on my lunch breaks while I was like working out and stuff. And it's Yosh Games Live.
Yosh Games.
Dude, Yosh puts on
He puts on a good show.
one hell of a show. He's always playing like the jankiest 3D games. Like it's like that's how I found like Croc. Like for
Right.
Spectrefest, he was playing Croc,
Right.
he was playing Croc, and I was like, dude, what is this? This looks like right up my alley. And he's like, I was like, does this control like Bubsy 3D? And he's like, yeah, kinda. And I was like, dude, I need to play this.
You're like, I'm in.
Yeah. So he plays like all that like early N64 to PS1 era up to like the PS3 era. So like
Right.
all those like really kind of janky. He plays like a lot of Deus Ex, a lot of like
Okay.
Turok games, and just like yeah, and it's always a good time. He makes like his own music remixes out of like other game music and like actual music and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's got a lot of talent.
I've dropped in on his stream a few times. At your recommendation, you were talking about how you drop in there too. So I had thrown him a follow because I think we were streaming the one time in the summer or the spring or whatever. And
Yeah,
then
it's
you
probably
threw it over
Trials of
to him.
Mana or something.
And yeah, and he was playing. I don't remember what he was playing, but he was playing something cool. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm in. You got me. Might have been Deus Ex.
Could have
But
been.
yeah, it was a lot of
If
fun.
you're looking for like oddball games from like that PS3 era, like Xbox 360 era, that like everybody kind of saw that you kind of saw that they came out, but nobody ever really played them. He
Yeah.
plays a lot of that stuff. Like
That's where you're gonna find it.
yeah.
You're gonna find it over
and it's
there.
just like, and then I remember he did like was it Unreal Engine something bingo he plays. So it's like gray and brown color scheme is like one of the things on your bingo card.
Oh
um,
jeez.
What is it, like Nolan North as the voice actor, bald character, like main character that doesn't talk a
Right.
lot. Yeah. People
I love
people talking to you over comms. Like it's just like all the things that era of
Like,
gaming was known for.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's fantastic.
It was so
Yeah.
good. So yeah,
good
that's who won my favorite stream to watch this year for sure.
Good stream. Yeah. Love it.
Next up is favorite or most watched YouTube channel this year.
That's right. Yeah. So last year I had given you a barbecue one because I was getting deep into the world of like smoking them meats.
Dude, there's that old kid. I think I probably brought this up last year.
Yep.
It's like this old dude, and he has like an old style cook.
Cowboy Kent Rollins.
Yes, that's who it is. Dude, that guy. I don't watch him very
That guy's
often,
awesome.
so he didn't like
Great.
win my thing. But every time
Yeah.
if he comes up in my feed, man, it's a good.
He
it's
eats some
my-
food and he does his little cowboy jig.
That's definitely
Yeah.
my favorite, like
he's good.
of the cooking
I like him too.
YouTube channels.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. He's great. He's not. I didn't put him. And I didn't put any food ones on my channel this year. So I said, aside from your stuff, again, I went with a creator on YouTube by the name of Neat on the Rocks.
Okay.
And I don't know if I've ever shared this person with you or not.
No, I've
but
never heard of him.
what he did was he put out a video called "Your Time Is Now" or something like that, where basically he was playing Sonic 3 and just talking about like his journey into streaming, into YouTube video creation, and it was like meant as like an encouragement to like take the chance and make the video, right?
Yeah.
Like stop thinking about it, just get it done.
Yeah, you talked about
And-
this in like was it like your first YouTube
the
video or
very
something?
first video
Yeah.
that I put out this year when I started getting a little bit more serious with creating videos for my YouTube channel, and I credited it 100% to him because from that video I felt motivated, like, okay, sure, I could do this, let's make this video, and I did, and I had moderate success with it, and I'm starting to get better at it. I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm learning how to do it, and it's all thanks to him. So I wanted to give him that top spot. The videos he makes are really good. He does a lot of DaVinci Resolve stuff too.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, just really helpful videos. Positive guy, and yeah, just all around solid. So yeah, Neat on the Rocks. NEATONTHEROCKS.
Awesome. So you know what that kind of reminds me of is he doesn't do those kinds of videos at all anymore, but his name's Cybershell. Have you ever heard of
Okay.
Cybershell?
I don't know if I have.
So he used to just play like Sonic the Hedgehog games and just like
Okay.
he would make comments on the game but he would also just like talk about life and
Be
stuff.
talking about something.
And he's
Yep.
just like, he's just hilarious. And like he like went AWOL for like 4 years or longer,
No kidding.
and then came back and made like all these other videos, and then went AWOL again for like 2 years. But anyways,
Just disappears.
yeah, Cybershell was great. So let's see. So my pick is actually another new person that I found this year. So I've been doing like not a lot, but I've been doing like some collaboration videos and stuff with some people. And it kind of started by somebody asking me, which I'm thankful for, because I don't think I ever would have gotten to like collaboration videos at all if nobody reached out to me in the first place. And I'd like to say who reached out to me first, but I don't even remember, honestly. I've done quite a few now. But anyways, one of the people that was in their video, so I've always looked up to and watched David Vink JRPGs. He's like a big JRPG channel.
Yeah.
And actually his old top 10 videos were what got me back into making videos, because I was like, I should get back into making like top 10 videos, because that's like what my favorite videos were and still really are to make, are like top 10s. And so I would always like watch his, and then I was like, you know what, I should get back to doing this again. And that's literally how I got back into like actually doing videos again. But anyways, so one of the collab videos I was in, it had David Vink, a few other people, and then this girl, Femtrooper.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, who's this? And then I like checked out her stuff, and like we have like the same taste when it comes to almost everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like she loves the Xenoblade games. She loves Dragon Quest 11. Like it was just so weird, because like every time I'd watch another video of hers, I was like, dude, that is like exactly how I felt and thought about that game, right? There's the odd difference, but overall, it's like pretty
on the whole,
on.
You're basically in line.
Yeah. Yep. So then I reach out to her and like started talking to her and stuff online. And it turns out she's from like Calgary, and like yeah, so she like lives like not super close, but like she's like here in Canada. And then through her I got to meet well, not through her, but I got to meet like get in touch more with like Happy Console Gamer, who's got like millions of subscribers, I think, and stuff like that. Like he's a very big channel. And actually I got to hang out with the guy when I was in Vancouver. So it's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of cool. And she's just like one of those people that I went from not knowing existed to watching every single video that she puts out. You know what I mean? So it ended up it was pretty cool, because and I think that's why I really like doing like collaboration videos now, because you get to find a lot of people that you didn't even know existed. Like I feel like when you go on YouTube, because of how the algorithm is, you're constantly just seeing the same stuff or the same people that you're always kind of seeing.
You get your little bubble.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, this is kind of all there is for JRPG content or whatever, right? So then when you do a collab video, you like meet all these other people, or you don't even really meet them. Like the way collab videos work now is a lot different than like back when we would do videos back in like 2013.
Sure.
Where like you literally don't even speak to these people at all. You just all hand in your part of the video, and then the guy who's heading the video edits it all together, right?
Sure.
But still, when you go and watch the video after it's complete, you see like all these like some of these new people that you've never even heard of. So I don't know, it's really cool, and I'm just very thankful that I found Femtrooper out of this kind of thing. So
yeah, Femtrooper's great. You introduced me to all three of the people you mentioned: David Vink, Happy Console Gamer, and Femtrooper, and a few of the other people too along the way as well. Her content is great. I subbed to her stuff, and when it pops up, I check it out as well.
Yeah,
I think it's really awesome. I think it would be really cool to be asked to collaborate in a video.
Yeah.
Sometime that would be cool to be asked, because nobody's asking me.
Yeah, you just gotta find the right person. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. We should do something. Here's the thing. I like to do a Christmas one or winter one for December, but it always literally boils down to winter areas, snow
Yeah.
places.
Well, 'cause
like I can, and then
'cause
it's like
tough.
I've
Yeah,
done
it's
it
tough.
like 2 times, and this
Yeah.
year, right now, this year the topic is top 10 winter towns, and it's like it's like mostly the same fucking places that I had in last year's video.
It's the way she goes.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
if you
it's-
can come up
it's
with
gotta be
a
rough.
better thing than that, we should definitely do one for the December video. But I'm just
For you, all of you out there in the internet that's listening, if you want to collaborate with me, or if you want to collaborate with Dookie, I mean, you could collaborate with him. He's
hit us
famous.
No.
I'm the
No,
up and comer. You know what I'm saying?
maybe just the comer.
You reach out to us. I would be happy to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's super
I'm
fun,
learning
man.
how to edit better. I'm learning like the concept of like creating videos and like how to put it together without wanting to pull my hair out, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not a fun
The
experience.
secret
for me
is
to do the editing.
templates for me,
Yeah,
and then saving
Yeah.
a template, and then
Yeah,
that
it's
way you
just-
don't have to start from scratch every time.
totally. It's just one of those things where like it takes
takes a
effort and
lot
hours
of
to
time.
practice, and it takes practice to get better. And that's that. I'm always in the starting blocks of it.
And
And
then-
then the other thing is I always want to do better than the last time. So templates don't work for me because I'm constantly reinventing the wheel.
Right.
I'm like, nah, I didn't like that. I want to do this instead. And then I'm changing everything again, and it makes it more work for me.
Yeah,
But no, it's just one of those things.
video
but
editing
but
takes
yeah,
a
I
lot
love
of
it.
time, man.
Fem Trooper's great. And Need on the Rocks, you're great too. And keep making awesome YouTube videos. We love to watch it.
We love. it.
Next up, Duke, is the most watched show this year.
Yeah.
Where did you find yourself in the world of television?
Dude, it's so kind of boring because this is the same one I had last year. So last year I picked South Park
Yeah.
because I had went years without watching South Park,
Yep.
and so I got caught up in
And
South
there's
Park.
lots of South Park.
There was, yeah, I was like, I can't remember what season I was on, but I had like 3 or 4 seasons to watch, and then like all the specials. They did like a bunch of like movies and specials and stuff
Yep.
like that. So I want to say either at the end of last year or like early to mid of this year, I got caught up in South Park.
Okay.
And I hate getting caught up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really bad for like, for example, Dragon Ball Daima is brand new right now. There's like a new episode every week. I was like, all right, I'm gonna, because Dragon Ball Super, I did my best, and I, for the most part, stayed up with it.
Sure.
But I like when I'm watching a show, I like to just kind of like binge in little pockets.
Sure.
And so if I get caught up, I'll just be like, hey, I need to watch something else now, and then that show just kind of drops off for me. So what happened with Daima is I think I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then there's no more episodes, right? Because you got to wait for the next week. So I stopped that, and then I was like, you know what? Let's restart South Park. Because I haven't... Back in the day, I would watch like seasons 1 to 4 over and over again because those are the only ones I had on like DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I have not went back and rewatched any of them. So anything from
Right.
season 4 until now, I basically have only ever seen once.
Sure.
So
Yeah, fair.
it's honestly, it's been really good. I'm on season 7, about halfway through season 7 right now. And season 7 so far is probably the best season, like consistency
I was gonna
wise.
say the early seasons were a little rough,
Yeah, definitely.
and then they really found their stride.
you get
And
you get like the odd really really good episode within
Yeah.
seasons 1 through 6.
yeah, but it's not like it is seasons like 6 through 12
yeah.
to 14ish. There's the middle chunk. There's a middle chunk, and then I fell off after a certain point. So I have no
Yeah,
clue
that's when I did
what
too.
later episodes.
They're all good.
But like there's
after
like a
season
middle chunk of
6-ish.
seasons where it's like, okay, I'll watch one more.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch one more.
Yeah, and now it's just like, yeah, every episode's so good. Like, Yeah, season 6 was where it was like, okay, there's like quite a few good episodes here, right? Whereas some of the seasons it was like there's like 2 or 3 really good episodes. But now that I'm in like season 7, it's like banger after banger after, like every episode's like really really good, and I can only foresee that basically will last up until I finish now.
Totally.
In second place, I ended up restarting original Dragon Ball because I was like, I got all Dragon Ball hyped for Daima. I got caught up immediately and then was just sitting there with nothing, right? So, but yeah, mostly South Park.
Gotta love it. Yeah. So last year I was all in on Star Trek. This year I finished off Star Trek with Picard. And that was like early 2024. Like it's like I think February. It's February or March.
Okay.
I
How
had
fucking
finished
good was
off.
season 3 though?
Dude,
of
Picard was so good. It was
Yeah.
really good. 2 was kind of
Yeah.
but 3 was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was.
And so I had to split this up a little bit because I don't think I had like a most watched show. I've been watching Family Guy. Like I started at
Really?
season 1, episode 1. And so what it is, I have a TV show that I put on before I go to sleep. And the reason why I do this is because I'm going to fall asleep through a portion of the show, and I have to not care if I miss some of it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of where I'm at with Family Guy. I'll tell you, I think I'm on like season 16 or something like that. I'm
Holy
like
shit.
way along. It gets not great.
I don't know if I'd ever
There's
was.
a lot of well, I mean, some of it is funny, right? Like, and every now and then it hits me with like something I like. It's funny and it laugh, but like they really compartmentalize the characters
Okay.
into like specific roles now. And it's I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna push through to the end of it because, like I said, it's the show I watch before bed. So if
Yeah.
I fall asleep, it
It's
is
not
what
the
it is.
biggest deal,
I move
yeah.
on with my life. Right?
Is it
It's not like I'm-
over? Is Family Guy over now?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so
they're
either.
still making them, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I mean, I've been watching that. So I mean, that would technically be my most watched show, but it wouldn't be the one that I'd be like, yeah, this one's great.
Yeah.
It's just because I literally watch like an episode every night because
Yeah.
I put it on before I fall asleep. From an anime perspective, I also watched all of Dragon Ball this year, which
This was your first
that's
time
great.
watching
This
the
is my
original, right?
First pass through with Dragon Ball. So coming in, I had only ever seen Dragon Ball Z, and I've only seen Dragon Ball Z up to the end of the Cell Saga.
So
I've never seen anything past it.
Only the good stuff.
And so you guys were encouraging me to check out Dragon Ball, and I was always kind of like, I don't know, it kind of seems kind of jokey, and you're like, no, you need to do it. It's really good. So anyway, so I was
So
like, fine,
good.
yep, sure. And I watched that damn thing from start to finish in like a couple weeks. It did not take
believe
me
that.
long to get to the end, because I was just watching like 4 hours a night kind of thing.
And it's like
nonstop.
130 episodes or something.
It's
Like,
a lot.
long.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of episodes. Yeah. And yeah, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was better than Dragon Ball Z.
Same.
I really, really liked Dragon Ball. After Dragon Ball, I did season 1 Attack on Titan.
Okay. Yeah.
I also watched seasons 1, 2, and they're not seasons, but seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Demon Slayer. I
Okay.
don't think you got into Demon Slayer.
No.
But it's very good. If you're into anime shows that have like fight sequences,
Okay.
and it has a lot of like emotion to it as well. It's got that kind of janky anime stuff where they
Yeah.
kind of do like the funny anime faces, like oh, right, and it's like whatever. Um, but like so good, like just unreal good. And then I've started watching Naruto again. Like original 2006
Yeah.
Naruto, because I never actually finished it. I've started it multiple times, but I never had the end seasons because any area that I've ever watched it on, be it Netflix or bootleg way back in the day kind of thing,
Yeah.
or on TV, they had it on, was it Toonami or whatever it used
I
to be
have
on,
no idea, honestly.
wherever it landed on TV. I've never seen past. There's a point in the story where they go on it's a big heavy slog of like side questy stuff because I think the writers ran out of ideas for the story, or they were padding it so hard that they were just filling it in. So they're like, it was kind of like Monster of the Week style where they go on
Okay.
these missions, and it's like 2 or 3 episode arcs, and then it moved on, right? And so anyway, there's one of these episodes where they're finding this guy, and there's this whole thing about the curry of life. And anyway, that episode is where I had ended what my Naruto watch probably 4 or 5 times prior, and I've never seen past it. This is the first time that I'm actually getting across that line because
Okay. Are you
I want to
past
just
that
see what
line
happens.
now?
I mean, I am now past that.
Okay.
It took a long time to get it. There's a lot of episodes of that. There's 5 seasons of the original series, and there are some like 20 seasons of the following series.
Holy shit! Really?
There's a lot. Yeah. Oh, dude, there's like 800 episodes. There's a lot.
Jeez.
So I want to watch that original set because it's something I was always interested in. You had shown me the manga way back in the day. Like way back in the day. I think you had actually originally
Right, 'cause-
introduced me to Naruto.
Well, because we would watch it at, I think, your place sometimes.
We watched it some. I couldn't remember, but it was
and it
on
was the
TV.
sub. Like it wasn't the
Mhm.
dub wasn't out yet. And
Mhm.
the reason I started reading the manga was because the even like the anime, we kind of got caught up.
Yeah, I think it only went up to like the exam.
Yeah, the Chunin exam. Yeah.
hmm
So then I started kind of reading the manga and stuff, and I think I got to where like Naruto and Sasuke like kind of fight, and then Sasuke
Yeah.
kind of goes missing, and then that's the
Yeah.
furthest I ever saw.
So that is the end of the story, and then what I was talking about, the filler, that all happens after that point in the story. So I haven't reached the end of the filler yet.
There's just like
So
a
it's
big
still
block of
just-
filler
there's
after
a
that.
big block of,
That's
there's
probably
like
why I
100 episodes of
stopped.
filler.
That's probably why I
and
stopped.
that would make sense. That would make sense because and this is where I typically dropped off because I'm like, I don't care about any of this. I want to hear the conclusion of the story here.
Yeah.
Sasuke's gone. Now what? Right? So
Yeah.
so anyway, I'm going to push through and watch the rest of it. I do want to find out what happens. But yeah, that's kind of where I was at for TV. I watched a lot of anime this year
Yeah, you did.
for TV. I also I did a pass through of Gundam Wing as well.
Oh right, you did watch that.
Yeah,
I remember.
and so that was good. The series is not great, but it's nostalgic for me, so I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
You gotta watch Double O Gundam, man. It's
Double O
basically
Gundam
Gundam
and-
Wing, but like
So
way better.
so Double O Gundam and Sailor Moon are on my list
Ooh.
for 2025.
Gotta try to find the
Absolutely.
OG dub.
I gotta
of Sailor
yeah.
Moon,
So
though.
so I went and searched, and I can find some of it, but it's a pain in the ass
Mhm, it
to
would
find
be.
it. So it's
It's hard to
definitely
find.
easier to find the other set because that's
Yeah.
kind of the well known. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But yeah,
So the way
where it's
I experienced actually the rest up until a certain point of the Naruto story
Sure.
is the video games, the Naruto
oh
Ultimate
yeah.
Storm.
See, I never played any
Those
of
ones
those.
they're so much
I heard
fun.
they were a lot of fun. I heard they were great games.
And they yeah, so that's how I found out like what happens after that part.
Okay.
Yeah, I got all the way up to there's like this guy named Pain that shows up.
Sure. Okay.
And that's kind of the last Ninja Storm game ended with like Pain kind of showed up and was like fucking people
Okay.
up, and
All right.
then like I don't know what happens after that because I'd have to play the newest game, I guess.
Nice.
But that was
Well,
my
yeah,
like
'cause-
method because I'm not like a big anime guy, right? Like I'm pretty fussy
Yeah.
with that, so I was
Yeah.
like, these games are always fun, so I'm gonna play this and then maybe I'll
Sure.
find out what happens. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I
Yeah,
ended
I
up
would.
doing.
I think if you're gonna dip your toes into anime, like out of this list here, you should definitely check out Demon Slayer. Because you like the fight scenes and stuff like that, and it's a lot of like sword art stuff
Oh,
that they've
okay.
got, and it's really colorful too. Like the painting behind you, that the Japanese kind of
Yeah, Wave
wave
Off
stuff.
Kanagawa.
It's completely represented in that 'cause
Oh,
he does
cool.
like sword art. It's like a water sword art. It's really cool, and like it's got
Is
its,
it
it's
long,
got its
though?
moments. The whole series is long, but it's broken into arcs.
Oh.
So it's not like seasons, it's like story arcs, which I really like that they did it that way because then if you don't want to watch the filler, you just skip to the next arc. You just start the next set.
Oh.
Away you go, right?
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's a really good watch. And the dub is very well voiced too.
That's
It's not
good.
like sometimes the dubs are kind of
Dragon
The dub
Ball's
is very
dub
good.
is like but it's Dragon Ball, so it's fucking so good anyways.
I mean, obviously, it's always the same thing. The sub's always the way to go, but there's so many times, man, I can't just sit there and watch it. I have
Yeah,
to have
same.
something else on,
Yeah.
and so having the dub on allows me to multitask a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would
Usually I'm,
recommend
like,
it.
grinding in
Very,
a game or something.
very good. If you're just gonna watch a little bit, the Mugen Train arc is what it's called.
Okay.
It's so good, and it's like it's heart wrenching too. Like I don't know, like that stuff really gets me, and it's like it's really emotional, which is good too. I like that.
That's
Just
good.
like it just like hits you, just like "Ugh," and you're like ah. You know
Yeah.
those that moment in like Full Metal Alchemist,
I've never seen it.
like you never seen Full
No,
Metal
dude,
Alchemist?
I don't watch much anime.
God, you gotta watch it.
I watch
There's a
Gundam,
moment-
Dragon Ball, Cowboy Bebop.
I can't.
That's it.
I can't spoil it because it's just one of those moments that you have to experience. Yeah, maybe the 2025 Dookie
No.
needs to pick one anime to watch.
'Kay.
Just one.
Dragon Ball.
Well, no, like
Done.
something else. Something
Done.
else.
Funny story though, because like when I talked about like the Naruto experiencing the story
Sure.
through the games, so Fem Trooper, she like always like lists off her favorite games of the year, or
Sure.
she did like a top whatever like 20 or 50 JRPGs of all time, and
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was in there at like number 4 or 5,
Oh.
and I was like, dude,
That's
this
high.
game's, yeah, I was like, dude, this game is not even that good. And then she's like, I've never seen Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z before. So that was her first time
Oh, that
experiencing
makes
the
sense.
story. Yes.
Okay.
So that's really cool. But
'Cause I
I
was
keep
like,
telling
that's-
her she needs to go back and
I
watch
don't know if
original
that's-
Dragon Ball.
I don't know if that's even a top 50 game.
Yeah, same. I don't know if that's a top 100 for me, man. I didn't like it all that much. But yeah, it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
So console you played most this year.
I this one's boring for me. I do mostly PC gaming.
Yeah.
I am like a 90% PC gamer. Technically the console I played the most this year is the Switch.
Yeah.
But I don't have the new system. So it's the Switch and the PS4 is what I have. I would say the Switch is what I played the most this year. And it makes the most sense because with its portability,
Yeah.
it just makes it so easy to just pick that system up and play it. I'm looking forward to the Switch 2,
Yeah.
and I will probably grab it.
Yeah, same.
Nintendo just about lost me as a customer with the Wii U, and we talked about this in the podcast previously. But I mean, I'm in on the Switch. That's definitely up my alley for console gaming. I think more like Sony and Xbox need to get on board with this. I think Sony is looking at a new portable, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. Well,
I
they've
think
got
they
their
are. I think it was announced.
they've got their what is it?
Backbone
Oh no, never
Or-
heard that. But there's like there's like
a
a
PS5. It lets you stream the game.
Yeah. I don't know what it's
Backbone.
called. Is it called Backbone? That's
That's what it's
a
called, yeah.
Terrible fucking name.
I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna just quickly search.
But you
it,
can
I'm
play,
pretty-
yeah,
it
you can
is.
play your PS5 games.
Yeah.
Portably, basically.
Yeah. No, they are coming out with a portable gaming system. They announced it. 8-inch screen.
30.
Here
They
we
need
go.
to.
Sony designing standalone portable games and console to do battle with Microsoft and Nintendo.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so they're working on
know if that's a
whatever
good
the
idea.
follow up. What was the last one they
Vita.
put out? The Vita. Yeah, they're following up the Vita here. The Vita was not good.
No.
The PSP was okay.
PSP was good, yeah. PSP
Yeah.
Go,
Yeah.
but
So
speaking
we'll
of
see.
handhelds, though, now that we're like all caught up on growing up with like consoles and stuff.
Oh, yeah, we gotta go
swinging
into
into
there.
2025. We're gonna be doing handhelds, so look
Yeah,
forward to that.
Handheld's gonna be a good one.
One show that I needed to mention that I completely forgot about until I looked this way. X-Men 97, bro.
Oh,
That show
I
is so
forgot.
fucking good.
Yeah.
If
yeah,
you've
I
never,
won-
even if you've never watched any X-Men anything,
Yeah.
go watch it, dude. It's so good.
I forgot that I watched that whole season like whoop,
Same.
and I also watched the retro X-Men
Yeah, same. I
as
rewatched
well
most of it. It gets
because
kind of shitty.
I
But
I didn't never watched it. I only
oh,
watched like a little bit here and there. I never actually watched the whole thing.
yeah,
Yeah, it definitely ended on a weak point,
yeah,
but 97 sure brought it back. That's for
yeah,
sure.
dude. 97 is so good.
Yeah.
Probably the best
I
show of
I
the
was
year.
wrong about I think the PlayStation thing is called the PlayStation Portal.
Yeah, that's the one, and you can play,
Portal.
PS5 games
Yeah.
on
My
it
bad. I
from
thought it
your
was the back. I
PS5. Like
thought it was the backbone.
you have to have a PS5.
Yeah, the backbone is the one that lets you use your phone or something like that. I don't
Oh,
know.
weird.
Backbone is like gaming systems. Could you just call it the PlayStation
Portable
Mobile,
2.
the PlayStation Portable 2? Like, come on,
I like
help a brother out here.
I like how
I-
like all the portable consoles and stuff now are like the screens keep getting bigger, and
Dude.
I just want like a joke thing where it's like a
Like a cookie
32
sheet?
inch. Yeah, yeah. 32-inch fucking LED screen.
Mhm.
The console I played the most is PS4 this year.
Of course, yeah.
It was
That makes
I think
sense.
Switch last year, but this year I played a lot of PS4.
That's your primary gaming. Like where PC's my 90%, the PS4 is your 90%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like that's where you find yourself most of the time.
Yeah. The
Until you've upgraded.
I got
'Cause
the
next
PS5 now. And
Yeah.
the PS5 plays like all the PS4 games. So.
And it's really funny because at this point last year you were like, I'm not getting a PS5. There's no games for it.
And then Visions of Mana came out.
And boom, there
and I
it
still
is.
haven't played
There's
it
the
yet.
game. Yeah, you still have.
I
do you
have it. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
it.
it's just sitting there ready for
Neo,
ready for your time.
Fantasia, Neo Dimension, another dude.
there's a lot
So
of
many
good
good
games
JRPGs coming. To
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I want to get my hands on PS5 too, because a lot of those JRPGs, while they come to PC, they come to the PC later,
Yeah.
and they require like a PlayStation
DRM
account and all this
shit.
DRM and all this other crap that you got to install. I'd rather just play it on the console, be done with it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm kind of eyeing up. So
And a
your
lot of
boy
these-
DG might get one too.
And a lot of these games are also on the Switch, but to me,
Yeah.
I want to experience them the best possible way.
I don't. Yeah, I'm concerned with new games on the Switch now too. Right? Dragon Quest 3 was a perfect example of it. It cannot stabilize at 30 frames.
Yeah,
on
that's
the
what I
Switch.
heard.
It dips below 16 and in some places below 10.
Really?
Yeah, it's not great,
brutal.
and it's just. I mean, it's old. The system's been out forever.
Yeah.
and it's powered by a freaking Android phone practically.
That's
like
rough.
it's just. It's not. It's time for the new one, right?
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
Nintendo's behind the ball here with the Switch 2. They should have released it last year.
They should have released
Um,
it this year in the holiday season.
Sorry, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like it should be out already.
Yeah.
So I
Sounds
get
like
it,
it's
they wanna
coming out
make it
in
right, but
March, but I doubt
Yeah, I
it
don't
because we
know.
haven't really seen anything of it.
I won't be an early adopter. I can tell you that
No.
much. But
Unless it's
yeah.
amazing. Like if
I'm
it does
definitely-
something that's like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because sometimes Nintendo does pull
You
out
never
all the
know.
stops.
Yeah. I'm never one to buy things on day one.
Same.
So I mean I'll be kind of watching, but in the same token with the amount of console gaming I do, that's not a huge
Not a
deal.
huge priority.
PS5's in my line of sight
Yeah.
a lot closer.
So what about best ongoing game this year? So ongoing
Yeah.
game is generally like a game that either we're like always playing or
something you're
always
always
coming
coming
back
back
to. Yeah.
Yep. So the first one on this list, I've got a couple of these. So the game that I'm always coming back to, I'm always going back to F-Zero, baby.
Yeah.
That game is my, and I had mentioned this in my last stream that like if I have a crap night streaming and I still have an hour to go, and if I haven't rage quit the stream because I was so mad, kind of idea, I pull up my Super Nintendo and I play F-Zero. Because it's just one of those games where I can play absent-mindedly, and I'm actually not that bad at it. I would never say I'm great at that game, but I'm not that bad at that game, and I love it. The simplicity of it, it plays good, it looks good, everything about it's good.
Yeah.
As far as it goes for games that go on forever and never end, both games I play with Finny. So anytime that I'm playing these games, it's me and Finn playing it, and that would be Stardew Valley
I was gonna say
and Path of,
Stardew Valley.
and Path of Exile.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
two games, I stream those annually and multiple times. I streamed Path of Exile 3 separate times this year, They had a massive upgrade
Update.
update. They released a patch, like they do this content patch thing every 3 months, and it was such an amazing system. And we played the crap out of that. It was about 2 good months that Finney and I played
Oh,
that, and
nice.
we would have gone even further. But then he had to go and do his
Farming.
apparently had to go and do a work.
Yeah,
Had
what
to
a prick.
earn a living. And so yeah, so that and Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is always a fun game just to kind of mess around in, but I know a little bit boring. Games have been out for a long time. Path of Exile 2 is set to release next year, so that might replace it on this list. But yeah, great games.
Yeah, so for me, pretty much just Dragon Quest X. Like I've
Yeah.
been playing that for years. I'm
Yep.
still putting dents in it here and there.
And you still have a lot to go.
Yeah, so
You got a
I'm
load of content to go.
I just started version 4.2 today, and they're just released 7.2.
Yeah.
I think this month. So there's a lot
It's
to go.
crazy.
Each version is like a full length Dragon Quest game. So
Yeah.
all of like from 4 all the way to the end of what like 4.5 is essentially one full
Yeah.
big JRPG. Right?
It's amazing how much they put into each one of those things. Like the story, the everything that gets put into that. Because it's not like another MMO. Like if you tell people it's an MMO,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I see." Because they imagine like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's an MMO in the sense that yes, you're online, and yes, other people are online, and yes, they can join your party. But it's a Dragon Quest game.
Yeah. It's always a Dragon Quest game first and foremost.
It's not like Final Fantasy Online, even that was more like like not American, but more like a standard typical MMO.
Yeah.
This is literally an online Dragon Quest game. You have a party, you roll in, you fight the monsters,
Turn-based combat. Like
turn-based combat. Everything about it is good. It's solid.
yeah,
I like
it's
it.
so good. I absolutely love it. As far as games that like I come back to all the time, I gotta go with like Outrun 2006 Coast to
Outrun.
Coast and Mega Man 6 kind of thing. I haven't played a lot of Mega Man 6 this year though. It's got to go to probably Outrun again for
Yeah. Yeah, you haven't done a whole lot of Mega Man this year, actually.
No.
Or Castlevania, really.
no. I think it's because like I
But
went
you
through and
you
played
marathoned them the year
all.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
next
And they usually make an appearance at Spectre Fest as
yeah,
well.
yeah, usually, yeah. So next up is favorite and or most listened to podcast. I'll give mine first because it barely exists. I like literally because I don't drive anymore. Like I used to drive to
Right.
train and stuff. So I
Yeah.
would listen to podcasts all the time. And
For
now
sure.
I drive like not at all. So
Right.
I don't really listen to
Doing
podcasts
a lot of
anymore.
walking.
Yeah. So the only podcast I think I've listened to all year is you and Finney have Masters of Pen and Paper. I've listened to a couple of the episodes there, but that is
Nice.
it.
Yep. Pretty light on the old podcasts. No, yeah, so we launched our podcast this year. So I'm doing one with Finney that's based on tabletop RPGs. We go
Yeah.
through rule sets. That was Finney's idea. That was 100%
Oh,
his
really?
idea.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I got this idea for a podcast. Are you interested in joining with me?" And I didn't even ask him what it was about. I was like, "Yeah, of course."
That's awesome. Finney's come a long way, man, because he
He's
used to
come a
be
long
like
way.
so afraid of like just like being even like on camera or like talking.
Yeah, he doesn't like being the center of attention, but unfortunately for him, I said as part of the podcast, I was like, "Well, today you're gonna do the intro." And he's like, I could hear him audibly gulp.
That's
Right?
awesome.
But dude, we released episode 7 here on like just a couple days ago from the recording of this, and dude, he's in it.
That's
like,
so good.
he read the intro, he made a mistake, and he caught himself immediately. He's like, "Hey, can we do another take?" I was like, of course we can, man. This is your show." So yeah, so that's great. Aside from your guys' podcast, so there's this podcast that we do, and then you do one with Soldier First Class, the gaming
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah, which we haven't done an episode in a
You
while.
haven't updated in a little bit, but that's a good one. And then I've been listening to this podcast called Tale of the Manticore.
Oh.
And what Tale of the Manticore is, it's done by this guy, and I have to look up it. I have to look up his name. Tale of the Manticore. I should have prepped this before. His name is John something.
Ooh, John something.
John something. I don't know. His name is John.
It sounds awesome. Like, just the title is fucking sounds good.
It's really good. So Tale of the Manticore is by this guy named John. And what it is a podcast based on the kind of like the original old school Dungeons and Dragons rules. The BX rule set, which is kind of this really simplified version of Dungeons and Dragons, intended for really fast play. And what he's done is he's created a story, and he records and he podcasts it. So you as the listener, you hear the whole story, but what he does during the story, during decision moments, he rolls dice for the D&D. So it actually changes the story, it changes the actions of the players. Because it's basically Dungeons and Dragons, but instead of like other podcasts where it's live play, where you hear everyone around the table and it's a little bit chaotic, and it's hard to get into, he makes it like a story. So it's got like this drama to it. It's got background music. It's got sound effects, and he's like telling a story. Cool. It's a really great idea for a podcast, and he does it so freaking well. It is so good. And so there's currently 3 seasons of this podcast. I stepped in somewhere around the middle of season 2. So I started the backlog, and I literally listened. I'm not kidding. From the beginning of this year through till now, every day, multiple episodes, and it is so good. It is so incredibly good. He's now at a point where the show's grown enough that he's gotten voice actors to come in and play the parts, the characters. And so it's almost like listening to an audio
like
book.
A radio drama or something.
Right, but instead of it just being a story that he wrote and he reads out loud, there's these points where he rolls a dice or steps away from the story to explain like what's going on, and the characters level up and they learn new spells, and there's this stuff, and it's all this stuff that's like kind of behind the scenes. So it's like D&D, but it's a story. It's this real good mix. Very good. If you're into any kind of Dungeons and Dragons or like fantasy content, it is very, very well done. And the other thing is, his seasons are the story. So season 1 is story 1. Season 2 is story 2. It has nothing to do with season 1.
Oh, so the characters don't carry over at all?
The characters don't carry over. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Cool.
It's very, very good. Yeah, I would really recommend, if you haven't checked it out, it's definitely interesting. And no lie, I've definitely considered stealing the idea and making a podcast for myself if it wasn't going to be such an immense amount of work.
No,
the amount of work that this guy puts into it, I can only imagine what he's got to do in order to create that podcast. But it's phenomenal. Dude, it is very good. And
you had me at the name, bro, and now it's like so fucking good. Now that
it's so good.
It sounds way better even than what I
and he's growing success with it. I believe the podcast has taken off quite well. Because he's able to make like advertising. Usually you can tell in a podcast because they make advertising deals and stuff like that, right? And so this season 3, the production quality is up. All of this stuff is increased, and I think this is his full-time gig.
That's so awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's good. I'd recommend it.
I'm not even like a big D&D guy, but that sounds absolutely incredible. And that's the beauty
of it. I don't like you have to understand the concepts of D&D, like the idea of like rolling a D20 and making a skill check and all of this stuff. But it is, since it's the BX rules, it's the simple version of everything. Okay. So it's almost like he goes to swing his sword and you hear him roll the dice and he's like, and it misses, and this is what happens. And he kind of fluidly tells the story as it goes along the way.
Does he ever roll the dice and he's like, fuck?
Probably, but it's probably cut and post too. Because there's a lot of times where it's like the dice roll and he's like, I wasn't expecting that. One moment, please.
Oh,
he steps away, he does whatever, and he comes back, right?
That's awesome.
And it's all well edited, right? You wouldn't know. He could have cut that out kind of thing, but it's left in there for like flavor. Because he wants you to still feel like it's like a game yet.
Yeah,
right?
that's so cool.
Yeah, very cool idea. Definitely recommended. Top 3.
So I just want to say that first of all, I wanted to take podcasts off of this, and I'm so fucking glad I didn't now.
Yeah.
Because that was awesome. And I do want to say, like, one of the biggest reasons we have a lot of these topics in our best of the year is to shout out a lot of these like creators and
For
stuff like
sure.
that. But B is to help you guys find cool shit that
Yeah.
you might not have ever heard of, right? Like,
That's right.
and like always, like every time we share with each other, like a lot of times it's stuff that we haven't even, the other guy
I've
hasn't
never
even
heard of this before.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah,
exactly.
so-
I love new stuff.
Yeah, same.
Especially if it's new to me. So like something like this Tale of the Manticore, like there's like hundreds of episodes. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to get into it, the beauty of that is now you can start at the beginning and you've got content to go.
You don't have to
for
get caught up
miles,
and then drop
right?
off like I always
Exactly.
do.
It's so good. So yeah, no, absolutely, man.
Is it on Spotify or YouTube or both?
Yeah, it's on all of it.
Oh,
YouTube,
sweet.
Spotify, Apple. It's on all of the
Main.
podcatchers out there too. Like I don't think there's any platform it's not on. I listen to it on Spotify because that's just become my audio
Yeah.
preference, but it's on all of it. I've seen it on YouTube as well. He puts the video, or it's not like a video. He does his YouTube podcast like I do mine, which is the audio on there with a picture of the box art
Right.
for the video, right? Because it's just for listening,
Yeah.
basically. So
That's awesome. All right. Next up is I got most active followers. So we're getting into the community picks.
community bits. So my most active follower, I have to split it 50-50 this year. Last year it was just Crim. Because Crim is in my chat. Dude's constantly engaging and hanging out, and I appreciate that. I'm adding Zabu to the list this year.
Oh yeah, he's always there whenever I'm
because
in
he
there.
is so Zabu's been around from day one for me. He was one of my very first followers of all time. He was my first subscriber.
Oh really?
And Zabu's just kind of been there. Zabu's a local friend as well, so he's just somebody that's kind of been around, and he's encouraging. He pokes fun a little bit, kind of jab the streamer with the stick a little bit. But, I had to split it between Crim and Zabu this year. I couldn't cut Crim out, dude. Crim's the best. Crim's
Yeah,
always
he's
there.
awesome.
And yeah, with the two of them combined,
With their powers combined.
their powers combined.
Oh my God.
They single-handedly have the ability. They single-handedly have the ability to keep me streaming.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes what ends up happening is if there's nobody in chat, and I'm not feeling the game, I'm like, all right, that's enough. It's time to
Yeah.
go.
Fuck
Right,
you.
like, and they'll be in there and they just keep me company, and then all of a sudden time flies by again. So
Yeah.
Thank you to all the followers.
No doubt.
But a big thank you. I wanted to shout out those two individuals.
So for me this year, I went with Reiner. I think Reiner's been to like
Reiner
every
is
single
great.
stream this year, and
Yeah.
he goes to bed. He goes to bed a little early. So, but honestly, he dips out around 9, which is when I'm supposed to end my stream anyways.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
But yeah, no, Reiner's always there, man. He's been there, I think, every stream. Sometimes I'm his listen to on the drive home if he can't make
Right.
it to the stream itself. Like, dude, I love the support and appreciate it so much. Crim's a little tough because he gets on usually a little later, right? So
Yeah,
he does
that's
always
why
show
Crim's-
up, but it's usually it's a little later. It's just a time.
I think that's why he's hanging out in my chat, because
You usually start a little
I
later.
stream later.
Yeah.
That is usually how it rolls for me, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. But yeah,
Yeah,
Reiner, appreciate the hell out of it, dude. Love the support. He's always like gift subbing people too. Like, dude,
oh yeah.
the guy's
Reiner's
the
a
guy's
gem.
a saint.
I think we need to add a category in here, which is most likely to dip out kind of thing, right? Like there's like people. No, not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. What I mean is, there's so many people that just roll in, and they're like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And they make themselves really present, and then they're gone. Like, I just want to
Yeah.
let you know that they're there, and they give you the encouragement, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Drupal.
Yeah, I was gonna say Drupal. That's like who immediately came to mind.
Drupal,
I love it.
Drupal is the master of this.
Yeah.
Because he will roll into my chat.
Tell a
he will
dad
drop,
joke.
Drop a dad joke or a pun.
And then be like, peace.
And then he's like,
and
he's out of there.
It's awesome.
And it's yeah, I gotta say, I appreciate. I don't say that in a bad way. I say that in a pure love way. I
That's
appreciate
hilarious, dude.
and love that. Yeah,
As soon as you brought that up, it's immediately who I thought
It's
of.
just because he drops in and he's like, "Hey, what's going on, DG? Here's the funny joke. I gotta go to bed. See
Yeah.
you later." And
Yeah.
he's just gone. So,
I got so for this year, best moderator. So this
right?
one's
Yeah.
this one's
who's
I
the
think
best one?
changes like every year for me.
All the time.
This
Yeah.
year for me has been Vector. Vector's actually nuked a couple bots and stuff. He's been
Vector's wields the band
slaying
hammer
it.
well. Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. For me, I have to give my best mod to Rocket.
Ooh.
Rocket's usually hanging out, and Rocket. I don't know if you know this or not, but Rocket mods for like famous streamers.
Oh, really? So he like knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. Rocket mods for famous streamers, and then he brings that, and he's like, "Hey, here's a little sprinkle of
Knowledge.
actual moderating on your channel." So he's like throws a poll up.
Oh,
He does a
nice.
thing. Like he has the ability to just kind of do all these things.
I don't
So
even know
I
how
got-
to do a poll.
I got it. I told him that. I was like, I didn't even know you could do that. And I mean, and the poll shows up, and it's like 2 votes in there, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, right. But so I gotta throw him a shout out because technically, from a skill point of view, that dude's got it. But Finney is the fastest ban hammer in the West.
Yeah, he's a quick ban.
The only reason I dropped, because Finney's usually my number one here. The only reason I dropped Finney down is the dude's been so busy this year.
Yeah, he has.
That he just couldn't be available, and I love him. I love that boy like my brother. But yeah, they have to share the spot this year, I think.
Yeah.
Just because Rocket he brings it, dude. Like, and I don't have a big mod pool. I kind of run tight shipped with that one. Because I've never been put in a position where I haven't had a mod in chat. I think if
Yeah,
there
that's
comes
true,
a
that's
time,
true.
that's when it's time to
Add to
increase that a little bit. Who is the mods? Do we want to include like mods in Discord? Because we added a couple mods this year.
Yeah, we did. Kame's been a really good Discord
Kame,
mod.
dude.
He's got
Kame-
all the knowledge. He's like
So-
the Rocket for Discord.
He is, dude. Like because that's exactly who I was gonna shout out to. We did our security overhaul this year.
Oh, right.
Which I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do it.
I think it's been
because
working perfect.
It's been
though.
working, dude. It's phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
doing exactly what we wanted. The reason why I didn't want to do it was because I was worried that it was going to lock off access for people that were already in there,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to disrupt what we've got going. We've got a fantastic community.
Yeah.
We've got an amazing Discord server. Everybody in there is amazing. Anyone who's boosted the server, anybody who's chatted, anyone who's just been around.
Yeah, dude.
We've had some real heated debates and like controversial topics, I guess you
Yeah.
could call it, in there, and nobody storms out
Exactly.
and says, "Screw you guys, I'm leaving." Everyone's
Screw you
always willing to
guys. I'm going home.
Everyone's willing to stick around to the table and talk, and I appreciate that out of everybody. I'm oftentimes throwing bombs in there,
Yeah.
and just so everyone knows, not one time am I ever upset or over the line or anything like that.
Yeah.
I like conversation and debate.
I did too.
I
think it's
like
important.
to bring that to the table. I think it's healthy to be able to talk about sides and stuff like that.
And I think that's
Nope.
what makes our community so good. Like we're able to I think everybody's able to see everything from all angles and want to see everything from all angles. I think
100%.
I think one thing that's like super important when it comes to like people just in general is not necessarily agreeing with literally anyone,
No.
but understanding each other.
Exactly.
That's what's most important.
Just getting that there is another side,
and
while you
understanding
may
like
dis-
why like where
Yep.
people come from.
while
why...
you might disagree with that other side, you can at least understand that they're there.
Yep.
And it is what it
Exactly.
is. To circle back to Kame and the rebuild of the server, the dude was instrumental in fixing things. Because remember
Oh,
when
yeah.
we put those things in, he was like, "Well, why don't you just do this, and this?" And Kame's another one who is modding for like actual like these famous freaking
Yeah.
giant servers.
He
dude.
Sabotage Studios, like he's
Yeah.
their Discord guy.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
And so having him in our Discord has been huge. And just having him around, dude, the guy's he's just solid.
Have you
He's
played
just
the
a solid
Messenger or
dude. No. No, you're saying I do need to check
yeah,
those
the
out.
Messenger or Sea of Stars?
Sea of Stars is one that is on my list of games to play. I just haven't gotten a copy of it
Play
yet.
the messenger first, because
Okay.
I don't want to say why, but do it.
Okay, I will. I will do that. And yeah, so Kami, thank you. We appreciate you. We also added Crim and Vector to the mod team this year in
Yeah.
the Discord. We were getting flooded with bots, with porn bots.
Porn bots.
And the
Not necessarily
the
a bad thing.
well, I mean, it depends. The straw that broke the camel's back was one got in and literally flooded every single channel.
Right,
with,
that was annoying.
images.
Yeah.
And so we had to go in and play cleanup crew. We got it cleaned up.
And it was the same.
it-
It was like the same images too. So I was
It's
like,
the
if you're
same
gonna
thing,
porn
like-
spam, at least give us some variety.
And so it was, yeah, at that point we were like, all right, that's it, we got to pull the trigger on this. And so we locked it down by creating Patty's Party Planning Pub,
Yep.
Planning Party Club, the PPP, Patty's Pub.
Dude, in
Anyway.
Dragon Quest 3 HD2D remake, she tells you the origin story of Patty's.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
I'm
once you beat the
excited for that.
game. Yeah, it's
I'm gonna check
fucking
that out.
sweet.
And so yeah, so it's kind of like a waiting area that exists. You let us know how you found us so that we know you're not a robot, and bickety bam, we let you into the server from there. So, and Kami was instrumental in helping us design it, and yeah, it went flawless. We didn't
Yeah,
even hit.
it
We
was
didn't
so
even
good.
have
We
a
didn't-
hitch because
we didn't
because
lose
of the
anyone
crew.
behind.
So
Yeah.
everything was good, and you guys are awesome.
Let's see. Most Speaking of the Discord, though, I got most active in Discord.
Right.
Who do
I
you
went
got?
with Hacko,
Okay, yeah,
and Crim.
same. I went with
So-
Hacko and Dr. Pee Poop.
Dr. Peep.
Best
name
name,
ever.
dude. His name on on Twitch is Scatface.
Hacko was number one in my opinion because I don't think there's ever a time in our Discord that he's not contributing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
And commenting. And again, like I mentioned, kind of the heated debates. Like Hacko and I've had it out a couple times, not in like an angry way, just like he's coming from side A, I'm coming from side B.
yeah, exactly.
And we always meet in the middle and we kind of go from there. And so I would say 9 times out of 10, if something's posted, Hacko's in there. Reiner's also in there quite a
Yeah.
bit.
And Crim.
Dr. Pee Poop, great. Crim, great. Vector, great. Like all of these folks, there's nothing. And you and I have said this before. I can't remember if we said it live or if we said it offline. But there's nothing more like validating than when you leave for a day and you come back and there's like 180 messages in
Yeah,
the Discord.
dude.
Right? Like it's just like
And everyone's like-
life exists. Everyone's just doing stuff and everyone's so cool in there.
Yeah, dude. And they're all like, here's the thing, man. Like, people build communities, and I get that, but to me, it's just so cool to see something that like we built, our friends built, we all the friends we've made. Like
Yep.
to me, Twitch started off as like literally just me wanting to play video games and hang out with my friends that are like watching, and then it kind of went from there to like meeting new friends, and now it's just kind of going from there. Like
That's right.
the main reason I stream now is just to meet new people and make new
Exactly.
friends. It's just
Yep.
And we've got
Yeah,
such a good community, man.
And me too. Like I've said it before that the reason why I started streaming was because I had these hours that I would have normally been playing games with Jason
Yeah.
that were now free, and I didn't want to just sit by myself in the quiet.
Yeah.
And so starting to stream gave me an opportunity, and then that's when you guys opened you're like, well, why don't you just jump on with our Discord? Because I was like, I don't want to make another Discord.
And you built mine
for
anyways.
me. And I already owned yours, so rather
Yeah.
than just taking it over, no. So it was just, it made sense that we kind of joined forces in that case, and it's worked out really well. And every single person that's in that Discord, I appreciate whether you type or not, just the fact
Yeah.
that you're there. It's been really good. I appreciate you.
And then favorite retro game streamed.
So I put F-Zero here, but that doesn't really count because I just said it above, right?
Yeah.
It is my favorite retro game to stream. I will stream that every single time. I actually put Trials of Mana here
Yeah, that was good.
because I really, really like that game. I can't tell if I liked that game because of the game or because we played it as 3 players.
Yeah.
It was really
A little of
fun
both.
playing that game with you and Fates. And we had a lot of fun. There was a lot of times where we were like, oh, you played that game without me. We like hammed it up a little bit. And it was just a really fun stream.
Yeah, it was. It was the best. It was so good. And like it's one of those games that like I remembered playing as a kid, remembered really really liking it, but didn't really remember any of like the story points and stuff like
Right.
that. So it was almost like a first playthrough for me as well.
Sure.
And yeah, it's so fucking good.
It was
man.
good.
It was
was
so
really
good. I went with that one would definitely be up there. It'd be a really hard toss up, but I went with Dynamite Headdy because
Oh,
Dynamite Headdy was a game that like I grew up playing as a kid and just never beat. Like I played
Sure.
that game. I've been playing that game since I was probably like 10 years old, maybe younger.
throwing popcorn in the air.
Throwing popcorn, trying to catch it in my mouth. The worst in joke ever. But the fact that I actually like kind of made myself start Spectrefest off with it so that I was
Yeah.
like I would like force myself to beat it, right?
You're getting through it.
Yeah. And the fact that I actually got through and beat it cuz like that game is fucking hard.
It's hard, dude. I've played that one before, and I don't do nearly as good as you do.
It was very very difficult, but getting through that, like I don't know, man. Just the only other time that feeling only happened 2 other times for me. One
Okay.
was when I think it was me and Finney beat Double Dragon 2 for the first time. Double Dragon 2 was
okay.
the first game I ever played in my life, and I beat it like 4 years ago for the first time.
Right.
And like
That one's really hard,
that
too.
was like, yeah, and that was like another one of those moments where it's like, dude, I've been playing this game, I love this game so much, but I've never been able to finish it, and it's just like
Yep.
that feeling. And then the other one was again with Finney quite a few years ago, and we did stream it, and that was Bubble Bobble. Me and Finney used to play
Okay.
Bubble Bobble like all
You
night.
guys,
like
you
when-
guys are hardcore for Bubble Bobble.
yes.
I thought you were joking the first time you mentioned it. But
Oh,
you're like,
really?
No, dude, we play it all the time.
Yeah, so we used to. Finney had a Bobble Bobble collection on PS1,
Right.
and we would like literally like stay up all night playing Bubble Bobble, and we'd never beaten
love
it
it.
until
Yeah.
just a few years ago. And I think I still have the clip like saved because I always do like my clip highlights each
Sure.
couple of months and year and stuff. And I mean that year I had like maybe 5 highlights because I don't know, my stream was shit, right? But but like that's one highlight that I'll still go back and watch because it's like
Sure.
after playing this game for like 20 years, Finney and I finally sat down and beat Bubble
Right.
Bobble, and it was
I
like
love it.
it was just crazy. But yeah,
good stuff.
that was to me why Dynamite Headdy somehow edged out Trials of Mana because
Sure.
it was
No, I get it.
gave me that
Yeah, I
feeling.
totally get it. Yeah.
Next,
How about your? So this is one of my favorite categories.
It
But
is.
what about your favorite game this year that you streamed that nobody wanted to watch it?
so this one for me was Trials of Mana.
Right,
I
yeah.
think like the most people I had in like my viewership was like 4 people, and that's
Sure.
across like Twitch and YouTube. It was
Like
brutal.
the whole kit. It was
Yeah.
hard to get people.
We
to
did
get it.
have
I
some
wonder
guys
why.
that were like interactive. The nice thing
Oh,
is like the
yeah.
people that were watching were like super interactive, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was like 4 dudes, and
It's
it was
really
rough-ski.
interesting to me because I would have expected the numbers to be higher.
Same.
than
It's
that.
such a good game.
It's a great game, but I mean, I get it. The thing for me with JRPGs, if I haven't played that game, I don't go
I am
watch
watching.
it
Yeah.
because I don't want to get spoiled, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the double-edged sword of streaming JRPGs. So I totally get that, I guess. But it was a fun stream still. Viewers or not, that was
Oh,
definitely
absolutely.
one of the best streams we did this year.
I
in my
think so
opinion.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one
Yeah,
of
it
the
was
funnest.
definitely up there. The Disney Pixar airship.
Oh yeah.
This is the best.
Now that's a shitty airship. That's just,
The game that nobody wanted to watch that I enjoyed playing was Mass Effect 1.
oh,
Nobody wanted to watch Mass
really?
Effect 1. There was so many streams of Mass Effect 1 where it's just me and Krim hanging out,
Oh
and
man.
that's it.
And it's not like it's a new game, so people aren't like
no.
worried for spoilers
Yeah.
either.
I was actually a little disappointed with that for that exact reason because I was like, you know what, this game's been out long enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I get it. It's an investment to.
Go on.
It's an investment to get into that game. And Mass Effect 1 is not the best of the trilogy. Like 2 is hands down the best of the trilogy. I will be
Yeah.
playing Mass Effect 2 in 2025. But yeah, no, nobody showed up for Mass Effect 1. I finished it. I got to the end. There was a few moments where I did have like a few people tune in, but for the vast majority, the average watch was like 2 people at the most.
Damn, dude.
Yep.
That's always rough.
That's the way
It's
it
always
goes.
and it's
What are you
always
gonna have?
and this is why we created this topic. It's because it's
Yeah.
always a game that we love and are really
Yeah. Oh
enjoying
yeah.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I would do it again. I mean, there's so many moments in Mass Effect 1 that like blew my mind the first time I went through it, where like BioWare knew what they were doing. You can see the decline of BioWare by the time they get to Mass Effect 3, the end of Mass Effect 3. The decline of BioWare and like the games
They just
that
kind of
followed.
stopped caring, hey?
Well, it's they were trying to make profit for EA at that point,
Right.
And so rather than making the game, they were making the board happy, and that's what you got with Andromeda.
Yeah.
It's just like games that were rushed, they were pushed through, they weren't well cooked yet, and yeah. So we'll see. Mass Effect 4 is apparently supposed to be coming
Right.
out, and so we'll see what ends up happening about that. If they're going back to the Commander Shepard, well,
I would like
then
them to start a whole new story, personally.
it would be well. They tried that with Andromeda.
Yeah, I know, but the game was. Well, I think if they had more time on Andromeda, I think
That's exactly it. And to me, that's what Mass Effect 4 is going to tell me.
Yeah.
If they release 4 and it sucks, then
They're-
BioWare's
they're
done,
done.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
That puts the nail in the coffin as far as I'm concerned. They released a new Dragon Age game. Like Rocket has been in chat saying how amazing this game is, but every other review, every other person that I hear about it, nobody says it's amazing. They all say it's good.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like you got the people that are like, it's got some stuff in it that I don't like. It's like, fine, whatever, man. If it's not for you, that's great.
Yeah.
But
You can't fuck a bear.
the average rating, it's like out of 5, it's very much a 3 game, a 3 or a 4.
Okay.
Like it's not
kind of middle.
Not
of the
very
road.
few people are saying how amazing a game it is. Rocket saying that's good gives a little bit of hope to it because at least I know him. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's I don't know. We'll see what happens. BioWare, surprise me in 2025.
Yeah. Most watched game streamed. That wording
Yeah.
is terrible. But the game that most people that brought in the most viewers that you streamed.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So hand over fist, and I say this every year, the Dungeons and Dragons stream is
Right.
hands over fist the most popular stream we do, and it's why it's stuck at the Sunday slot for so long. I've been doing that since I started streaming. For point of record, for Spectrefest, our 24-hour stream, I want to say we got something like 250, let's call it 275. That's a little bit higher. It's around that.
Yeah.
Viewers, right? My best, I went back and looked at the stats. My best Dungeons and Dragons stream this year was 178.
Holy shit.
Right? And now that I'm streaming to YouTube as well, the YouTube numbers are also up there. I think the best YouTube stream that I've done, and this is the recent campaign, this one would have started just at the beginning of November, is 140.
Holy. Yeah, that's good.
Like, because people are hungry for Dungeons and Dragons content, right?
Yeah.
Finney and I are currently doing some world building stuff using a world building tool called Pendulum.
Right. I saw
Which
that.
is currently my best YouTube live that I've ever done.
Oh, that's good.
At 172 or something like
Like
that.
live views or like views
No,
over
like
time?
views, like overall views.
Oh, okay.
And then in Twitch, I want to say we were up to 28, I think,
Nice.
by the time we close the stream. So it's like Dungeons and Dragons is definitely my bread and butter.
Yeah.
And it's also because I'm fluent enough in the topic that I can talk enough about it, and I can answer questions and I can go through stuff. So Dungeons and Dragons is definitely my most watched, but it's not a video game. So the next best that I had, funny enough, was Final Fantasy VII. Because I ran through when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth released this year. I didn't
Right.
have a PS5,
I remember.
and I didn't want to get it. And so I was like, well, forget it then. I'm going to play real Final Fantasy VII instead of, and maybe people will tune into Final Fantasy VII. And I think that happened a little bit. But I think it's just because people like Final Fantasy VII so much that they
Yeah.
tune in for it. And then what I did was I added the mods. So I had the
Oh,
voiceover mod,
right.
the HD mod, the sound increase, the background increase. I had put in all of these non-game changing mods, but it basically just it created the remake that I wanted,
Yeah.
is what it essentially did. The voiceover was okay, not great, but it was
Yeah.
a
Some
volunteer
characters were
project.
like good and some were like really
Yeah,
bad.
but with it being a volunteer project, it's really hard to criticize it.
Yeah.
Nobody got paid.
Yeah.
Everyone just did it out of the good of their heart, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to criticize it. But that was definitely the best video game stream that I did this year. I think that one peaked at like 42 or 45
Oh,
or
that's
something,
good.
which is really good.
Yeah.
Right? For my channel.
Yeah. That some of the best numbers I got obviously was from Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
as soon as that came out, because I also pre-ordered it digitally on PS5, so I got it like the second
You were
it
ready
came
to
out.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people
Yeah.
were like, because a lot of people that were watching my stream bought it on Steam, and apparently Steam you couldn't play it until like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
the following day or something like that.
Yeah.
So I had it like 12 hours before most people.
Got it.
So they were, a lot of
There's a
people.
lot
were
of
tuning in.
restrictions with the PC version. Not only was it that, but there's a hefty DRM that needs to be installed, and it's actually the reason why. Because I was going to get it for Steam,
Oh.
but I didn't want to install that freaking DRM. I
Oh,
don't like
okay.
DRM.
Yeah.
DRM
same.
on a computer, like I understand the requirement for it. I get it. You don't want people to steal your games. Fine. They're stealing them anyways, whether you got DRM or not. But I get it. I understand from your perspective. What I don't like is that it requires such heavy access to your computer that it could, if something went wrong,
Yes.
completely lock you out of your system. Because it actually has higher permissions than the administrator in the computer does.
Really?
System root level access, right? And so I don't like that. I tend to steer clear of games with DRM. Sometimes I bite the bullet and I do it, but I don't like it. I tend to stay away from it.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. That's why I hate, one of the many reasons I hate PC gaming. But yeah, no, Dragon Quest 3 HD2D remake. I'll save the next one for last just because it's kind of a looking forward.
Looking forward. Yeah,
Let's
jump
get
back up to the
into worst game played this year.
top. Oh, we did that.
Let's get
Did we?
into
No.
Oh.
We did most disappointed. So.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah, worst game played this year. I mean, Phantasy Star 2. Already talked about it. It was awful.
And mine was last stream. Already talked about it.
Oh,
That's why I was
yeah.
like, we already talked about this.
Perfect. Sometimes they just line up.
Yeah, it was definitely the worst one. And I don't know if it's because it was disappointing, but it was any game that I have to hit the eject button on,
Yeah, not good.
not good.
Best indie game played this year. What do you
Best indie game played this year. I had to give it to Pixel Noir.
got? Oh,
I
right.
played through, so I didn't really play a lot of indie games this year.
Want to know what I
Um,
thought you were gonna say?
What's that?
That card game simulator or that card store. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. Well, hey, a trading card game simulator was fun. I don't know if I would say it's the best game I played this year. I played that game a good amount, but I played that game in the same way that other people like just have like something to do, right? The thing that I liked about that game is it was mindless.
Yeah.
So you kind of just have it on. So I was just playing that, and then I was watching Naruto. I was watching
Oh,
Naruto
yeah,
on
yeah.
one screen, and then I play that. And it actually played into the simulator quite a bit because I was like the employee who's like watching TV. He's like, "Yeah, what do you want?"
That's
Watching
funny.
Naruto instead. Yeah. So Pixel Noir got the nod in my opinion for this one. They had such a rough launch. I felt so bad for the guys. They had a bunch of bugs, and because they had the bugs, they had a bunch of negative reviews come out right away,
Right.
and it kind of stuck with them. They're looking at launching to the Nintendo Switch
Oh.
here, I think right away. They needed to get there was a pathfinding bug, and I think they got that fixed now. But yeah, that was definitely the one. It was a fun game. The story was really good. The gameplay was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of like subtle nods to JRPG games
Okay.
that were in there. it was just yeah, it was a good play. So
That's
yeah, if you haven't
cool.
checked it out, definitely check it out.
Um, best indie game I played this year, and this one like really like I probably should have made it like my most surprising game was Rogueflight, man. Like
Oh yeah,
when
I
I
forgot
saw
about that game.
yes, when I saw the trailer for that, which I didn't even know it existed until Tokyo Game Show. And I was like, dude, this is like fucking Afterburner Climax on steroids in space.
Yeah.
And when I was super hyped for it, all this, and then when it came out, I was like, because it was one of those games that was like coming out by the end of 2024.
Right,
So I was
right,
like,
right,
I have no fucking clue when it's coming out. And then all of a sudden it was like out, and I was like, shit. And then I just bought it, did like a stream at like fucking 2 in the morning.
I remember that.
And just like played through the whole thing. Dude,
The
I think
whole
it took me like 3 streams, but each stream was like 3 to 4 hours long. Like it was so good.
You had the devs of the game show up too, didn't
Yes, the game devs were like in my chat giving me like little
Yeah.
pointers, and it was so good. It's honestly like because we got Air Twister, I think earlier
you?
this
Yeah,
year, right?
Air Twister. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that game too.
And
I
that
didn't
was
really give it a full playthrough.
Air Twister was the guy. I want to say I don't want to fuck this up. I think it was Yu Suzuki, the guy that did like Space Harrier, Outrun, all those games. I think it's Yu Suzuki, and he also did like Afterburner, but he left Sega like a little while ago, right?
Yep.
And
It
so-
is Yu Suzuki.
Okay,
you are
sweet.
correct.
So I was like, fuck, like I want more games like that. And then I found out that he did Air Twister, and I was like, dude, I gotta support this guy no matter what at this point, right?
For
so I
sure.
bought the game. It's super fun. I really like it. It's kind of got like a mobile game feel to it, which kind of sucks. But overall, soundtrack is absolutely banging, especially if you like Queen. It's
You
so
love Queen.
fucking good.
It's so Queen. It's crazy.
And then I was like pretty hyped for that. I played the shit out of that. Never beat it. I haven't beat it yet. And then I just kind of fell off on that. And then when I saw Rogueflight, I had to have it. I did a review of it. God damn, was that game incredible. It was
No
so
kidding.
good. If you like Star Fox, if you like Afterburner, if you like
Yeah.
Space Harrier, any of those kinds of games, even if you fucking don't like them, really.
Those fast flight shooter.
Yeah,
games.
dude. Because they add so many like different elements to it as well.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
And there were story branches. Like
There's
like,
branches in the
choices, like-
story. Like their inspiration for like the story and everything was like kind of like Gundam, Macross, Evangelion, like those
Yeah.
80s, 90s anime. And the game kind of has like that kind of a vibe to it story wise. And then
Yeah.
gameplay, it was like Afterburner Climax, Star Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
No, it was good.
God damn, was that game good.
Yeah, I remember watching you play that one, and it looked like a lot of fun. I'm not into Star Fox all that much, but I think I would have given that one a run for sure.
It was one of those games too where like as soon as I beat it, I like
Came out of
wanted to
nowhere.
get back in and try the other routes like immediately.
No kidding. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
platinumed the game like I think the week it came out because I just like kept
Totally.
playing it.
Totally.
What about did you do best indie game? I think you did already. That was Pixel
Best
Noir,
indie game,
right?
yeah, Pixel Noir.
Best game released this year that you played.
So I said earlier I haven't played a lot of games that came
Like
out this
new
year.
releases.
I've come to an age where I appreciate a good deal on a video game.
Yeah, same.
When a game costs $90, it better be good, right?
Yeah.
And so because of that, I have really slowed down my purchasing of new games. So if we're talking about games that we've played, the only real game that released in 2024 that I bought and played was Helldivers 2.
Oh yeah.
And I picked up Helldivers 2 after the launch. I was away after the launch. And since then, I've heard that the game had dropped off, and that's why I left.
Oh.
Because they were making some changes to the weapons and stuff, and they were nerfing things, and they're making
Oh.
it just not fun. But I've heard that it's come back a good ways, so I haven't played it recently. I would fire it up again, given the opportunity to do so. But that would definitely be my pick for if it has to be played.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have to be played, then I would have to say Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, simply because that game is one of the few games where I've been this close to being like, you know what, I have to buy this game. This close. It's one of the primary reasons I'm even looking at the PS5 to begin with,
Yeah.
because it would probably be the first game that I would buy and play on. And for a runner-up, I would then say Gundam Breakers 4.
Right.
And it's because Gundam Breakers 4 I would have bought on launch if it wasn't for New Gundam Breakers.
Yeah, I know. That
New
game
Gundam
burned
Breakers
the
made it
shit
so
out
that I
of
was
us.
like, nah, I'm not buying this on launch.
That game
but
made
I will-
both of us say, "Nah, I'm not buying this on launch." To 90%
Dude,
of games now.
For
'cause we got
sure, it
burnt
was
so
it was
bad.
the reason why I don't buy games on launch
Yeah.
anymore. And so, but I will definitely be picking that up and playing it again, playing it soon. I just have to find out if I get a PS5 shortly, then I'll be getting a PS5 version of it.
Right.
But if I get the PS4 version of it, could I play it on the PS5?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like it's locked out for me or something like that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So anyway, yeah.
It is
so,
on
I mean,
sale right now. Gundam Breaker
Nice.
4.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Yeah, those would be the ones that I would pick if we're allowed to say games we haven't even played. Those would be in my opinion. I know, was it the Legend of Zelda released their game this year too? Did they not?
I
Tears
have
of the
no
Kingdom,
idea.
or was that last year?
No, is the one where you play as Zelda.
Oh, right, my bad.
Didn't
Yeah,
look
that's
like
right.
my kind
I
of
don't know.
game.
I mean, it
But
looked
most
like
Zelda
it
aren't.
looked fun. It looked fun if that's the type of like the top down adventure game.
Kind of like reminded me honestly of like if you took Zelda and crossed it with like Scribble Knots.
Yeah,
Kinda, hey?
yeah. I don't. It's not a game for me because
No.
those are like creative puzzle solving, and
Yeah.
I
The
don't
brain
do well
don't
with
work
puzzle
good.
solving. But I mean, yeah. I think that one would probably be up there too. But
So
what about you?
I'm
What
gonna
is your
just
best
double
game?
this
I
up.
mean, I know what it is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna double this up. This is best game released this year and the best game I played this year, and it's Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fucking good.
How could it not be? How could it not be?
I've put like 72 hours into it as of right now. I'm like 2 trophies away from getting the platinum trophy. Like they did such a good job.
Right.
I knew I was gonna love it going in, but
Yep.
honestly, this blew all my expectations out of the water, which is pretty impressive because I had some pretty heavy expectations.
I have a question that I've been dying to know.
Yes,
How bad did you miss Pachisi in this?
I didn't even, and
Not
I
at all,
love
hey?
Pachisi, dude. When I did my top 5 best and worst JRPG
It was in
minigames
there.
video,
I remember.
Pachisi was number 1.
Yep. That's why I was like, man, as soon as they said that it wasn't going to be in the game, I was like, ugh.
I think if it would have been in the game, I'm not gonna say it would have been bad or anything, but I think
Sure.
there's just so much extra stuff in this game that
Yep.
it would have just almost
been
maybe
OP.
made it drag because there's
Oh,
so much. Like, here's the thing. I knew, so when they did like the trailers, like the more recent trailers, they were like, oh, there's like these secret areas and there's like these little sparkly spots on the map that if you go and you can get extra items and stuff like that. But little did I know, like that those they were going to be everywhere. So
okay.
so it's like taking a game that I played on the NES and like played on the Super Famicom and on the Game Boy Color. Like I played this game probably 3 times before this playthrough. Not
Sure.
as many as the other Dragon Quest games, mind you, but
Sure.
still 3 times I've played through this. And it had me, because of the updates and like the changes and stuff, it had me playing the game and exploring as if this was my first time ever playing
Right.
it. Because like,
Gave
you
you
don't want to
something
miss
new.
any of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest factors when it comes to a JRPG, and this is because I grew up playing Dragon Quest games, is exploration. And when you're playing a remake of a game, generally that exploration feeling is a little bit gone, right? You want to see
Sure.
what the places look like, but as far as overworld, like world map moving around, you know where
You know
everything
where you're-
is.
You know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this just brought that aspect back into it all fresh for me. So
Cool.
I literally, so some of the people that were playing it started playing it like quite a bit after me and got way past me in the story because I'm like literally covering every square inch so that I can see like where all the secret areas are, where all the,
Right.
I had to find all of them.
Yep.
And
I love it.
It was so well done. The voice acting, other than in Baharata, which was absolutely fucking terrible, the voice acting was so good in the entire game except for that one town.
And yet you came.
Dude, Baramos' voice actor was so good. Oh man, the whole game. Like honestly, like the atmosphere, the way that they kind of like didn't harken back to the Super Famicom or the Game Boy Color remake and literally were like, nah, we're going to harken back to the NES, the Famicom version. You know what I mean? Because like I prefer the Super Famicom game, don't get me wrong, over the NES one. But the way that like when they were going to like design what this is going to look like in this game, they wanted it to look like the NES game.
Okay.
And I think that's where they really, really excelled with everything.
Yeah. Everything that I've seen has really got me hyped to play not only it, but the next two as well.
Dude, so the next two, even before 3 came out, I've been more hyped to play Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2D remake. The moment I found out that they were going to exist, I was like, dude, this is going to be so good because 3 was already a fucking good game. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying 1 and 2 suck. 2 kind of did suck originally.
Sure.
But 1, I love Dragon Quest 1, all right? But there is so much that can be done with that game, and like I'm so excited to see what they do with that to expand it.
I love Dragon Quest 1, says the guy with the giant Dragon Quest 1 poster behind.
Oh yeah, Dragon Warrior. Dude, I love it. Dragon Quest 1 is like
it's a very good game.
It's one of those games that I just like go back to and play over and over again all the time.
Totally. No.
And to see what they did, and it's so smart that they released 3 first. Because if they announced that they were going to do an HD2D remake of 1 and 2, and 3 wasn't announced till later, I think that they wouldn't have got as many people grabbing the game, right? Because
I think so, yeah. I think you're right.
People already kind of love 3. So when this was like kind of like take this Porsche out for a drive, right? See what you like, and then you're coming back because you already know you're gonna like this.
You had a very good experience.
Yes, but when you play this and you realize what they did to like make it even better, you're like, wow, maybe I didn't
wait to see what they do next.
Yes, maybe I didn't like 1 and 2 all that much, but now I'm like, wow, like now I need to play 1 and 2.
Absolutely.
So I think it was so smart for them to do it.
It's a smart play,
and
it's been so incredibly well received.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, like it's done very well. So that's a no-brainer.
They kept it
to me.
They kept it fresh, man. Like they have everything an old school fan would want, and then they kept it fresh. So like there are boss fights in this version that were not in previous games.
Okay.
So there's 2 times. One time I almost died because there's I mean I've played this game so many times, right? Like you go into this town, you get one of the orbs from this guy. And like I was half dead when I got there because I didn't see a need to rest at the inn.
Yep.
And there's a boss fight. I was like, oh shit, dude. So it like kept me on my toes. And then there's another spot. There's a spot in the game where you have to send one character in. It's like this trial kind of thing. And they're like, only one person can go, blah, blah, blah. So I sent in my Monster Wrangler. I was like, I need to find, if there's a monster down there, I need to be able to find him. That's my main priority here. So I'll send my Monster Wrangler. So I did, and I got him there, and I got to the end of it, and there's a fucking boss fight, and I died like 2 times. So like, I don't know, they kept it so fresh, but they also kept everything that you love about the original game in there.
A little something for everybody. If you haven't played it, you're good. If you have played it, here's some new stuff. Like, yeah, it makes total sense. I'm hyped to play it, and that will be my first playthrough actually.
Yeah.
Of Dragon
Quest 3.
Of Dragon Quest 3. And so I'm very much looking forward to running through that.
So what was your best game played this year?
So the best game played this year, I already let the cat out of the bag because my brain's on it, but I played Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed this year. So I don't know if DLC technically counts, but
it does
that's what I'm going with. And the reason for is because holy crap.
It was so good.
I purposely left that off for a long time because I didn't want the series to end. As long as that DLC remained unplayed, there was still more to play. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like I know they're going to be releasing Xenoblade
X.
Chronicles X here this year, which I'm gonna grab it because I never played the actual X. I'm gonna give it a shot, but I'm going in fully expecting what I know, right? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, I want to play it for the sake of giving it a shot, and I want to see if a remake is enough to fix some of the problems
That's
that
what
were
I'm
with
gonna wait and
the
see.
original.
But yeah, I didn't
So,
like
but because
X.
I feel like because 1, 2, and 3 have been so amazing,
Mm-hmm.
that it is what it is. I'm going in knowing that it could potentially suck,
Yeah.
and if that's the case, so be it. At least I'll be ready for it.
Yeah.
But I'm good to go for that. Future Redeemed was amazing.
Incredible.
It was the perfect cap off for the story. You got to, without any spoilers, you got an awesome set of characters to play with. It felt like its own little game,
Yeah.
right? And then after completing Future Redeemed, some of the folks in chat were like, "Well, okay, now go back into the original game and look at these statues." And you look at the statues and you're like, "Holy crap!"
Right,
Like
of the yeah, yeah,
because they were there the whole time,
yeah. Yep.
right? Like, and so it's just really cool to see how that story existed. They knew exactly what they wanted to tell. They just needed the runway in order to do it. And I mean, like I think to the amount of time I mean, if I add up Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, 3, and the DLC, we're talking like 400 hours,
Yeah.
400 game hours
Yeah.
of put into
Probably
this, right?
more, honestly.
Or more
Yeah.
even, exactly. And to kind of have that swan song ending is
It's a
really good.
perfect ending.
Now I mean I don't know, they might come out with more. I hope that they kind of cap this and do something else
I
now.
kind of hope so too, but they did make it
They
so that they
hinted at
could
it.
do a 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the door is open, and I mean, and that's great. But yeah, it was the definitely one of the best kind of send-offs I've seen in gaming history.
History.
In the
Yeah.
games that I've played,
So fucking good.
it was just like, and the whole ending sequence is like a half an hour. I just set the controller down. It was like watching a movie,
Dude.
right? Like it was just so
Oh my
good.
god.
Everything was
It
good.
was the it
Everything
was
was good.
so good.
And
It's my
and it
first
was
it's my favorite Xenoblade game. The fucking
oh yeah,
DLC from
yeah.
3.
It's definitely top tier. It was difficult, but not overly difficult. I finished the boss in one try,
Oh,
which was
that's
nice.
good.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like, I was also coming in fully comfortable with the battle system
Yeah,
and chain
exactly.
attacks and learning how to break and topple and launch and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so once you get all that concept under your belt, then the boss battles get easier. They definitely don't get easy because there's now like world bosses that are in the game to
Yeah.
go through and defeat. But I've never been that kind of a gamer, right? So
Yeah. Dude, yeah.
definitely one of the
So
best.
good.
It's just was so good. It was so good that it's making me want to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again.
Right, you're saying.
And so I'm looking at potentially that. But I completely forgot about Air Twister. I might actually run that over the next little bit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Just absolutely incredible freaking games this year, man. And then I think next year we've got good shit to look
Man,
forward to as well.
next year is insane.
It is. So the
What
last
what are you looking forward to?
yeah, the
next year?
last topic of the show. Games we're most looking forward to.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure we got the exact same games on the
Probably.
list here.
Well, pretty close. I have a couple that you won't, but yes.
I've got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2D remake, of course.
Yep.
We already talked about that. And then we've got if I had to put one at the top, it'd probably be Dragon Quest 1 and 2, but if I had to go second place, you're looking at Lunar HD Remaster Collection, man. I
Yep.
fucking love Lunar 1 and 2, and this is just like I've been asking for this for like quite a few
Right.
years now, and I was like, why haven't they done it? Because the same company that did Lunar does Grandia like 1 and 2 and stuff like that, and they did Grandia 1 and 2 remaster like quite a
Right.
few years ago now. So I was like, why would they do like to me Lunar is like way better than Grandia, like
Right,
nothing
that's- I remember you
against
saying that.
Grandia,
Yep.
but And I was like, why would they just do Grandia and then just leave it there? Why wouldn't
Right.
they? So, yeah. Oh my God. It's going to be so fucking good. I'm
Yep.
so excited for it. Just to see like some of the trailers and stuff in HD, like widescreen and stuff too.
Yep.
Like, oh my goodness. These games
be good.
are like, to me, it goes like Dragon Quest and then Lunar. Like, it's like fucking,
Right.
it's so good, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really hyped for Lunar. I never played it. I didn't even know the game existed until you started streaming it. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I never heard of it before. So yeah, that one's gonna be great. Did you have any other ones on your list?
The
or
only
is that-
other one I had was Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster, but like I played through those like very recently, so I don't know if I'll get them because it's like
those
I just
see in
played them.
Suikoden 1 and 2 I also didn't know existed. So I also had the Suikoden and Lunar remasters are both on my list. That I will be getting those 100%. Day one, those are games that I'm buying as well. Because those were already on my need to play list.
Yeah, before
And I
they even
had said-
announced that they were doing.
Before they even announced, I was
Yeah.
going to play the versions that you had played, right?
Yeah.
I had said to you off stream, like, those two games alone is enough game for the entire year.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of game time.
Yeah, it is.
But I mentioned earlier I'm going to be grabbing Xenoblade Chronicles X, so that one's also on the list. That
Oh,
one's
yeah.
relatively soon. Path of Exile 2 is dropping in February or March of next year, so that's also one we'll be playing. That's one I'll be playing with Finny. And Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out next year, and I gotta tell you, dude, Grand Theft Auto 5 was so unbelievably good that GTA 6 is a no-brainer to me. That's a day one buy for me as well.
Yeah.
So I know you kind of fell off of Grand Theft Auto, and I was filling you in. Like, you should play Grand Theft Auto 5. It was very, very good. Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 are in the same like line for me. Like,
Okay.
and I don't know if you did Red Dead Redemption 2.
I didn't
or not.
like the second one. I like the first
You didn't like
one.
it?
Yeah.
The first one was really good too.
Yeah.
But like Grand Theft Auto 5, the story was, because what they did was they did away with the open world thing. Still exists. You can still just do that if you want.
Yeah.
But the reason why I liked 5 so much
Can you
is
put
because
cheat codes in and like just have
probably.
all the
Yeah,
weapons
but I
and
don't. I
ammo?
never really did.
That's all
but
I ever did on the PS2.
the thing that I
games.
loved so much about GTA 5 is that it had such a great story that it didn't give you that, like, well, you're in open world, go do what you want feeling.
Right.
You can do that, but you was always on the way to the next thing. It felt more like an adventure game
Like a
than it
story.
did the sandbox game, right? And so given what I've seen from Rockstar up to this point, GTA 6 is a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, that
and the
makes
fact
sense.
that it's in Florida, like, it's going to be off the wall, which is
Yeah, I
great.
bet.
And I'm hyped for that too. So all of these, like Lunar, Suikoden, GTA 6, these are all going to be PS5 games. So
Yeah,
it's time to step
true.
into the console for me, which is those ones will all be on PS5. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thanks for sticking through the
Man, what a-
best
what a
of
show.
2024, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know some of your favorite games you played this year. Some of your
Yeah.
favorite, whether they're new games or games you just played for the first time.
Absolutely.
Let us know what games you're looking forward to and all that.
Give us your list if you have one.
Yes.
If you have a list, if you followed along all the way to this point,
Yeah.
throw your list in the comments.
Absolutely.
We want to know your bets.
Because we want to know, we want to find out new shit just like you.
Yeah,
we
I
want
wanna-
to tell
wanna
you
hear.
guys new shit.
Want to
so-
add more things to my list.
Exactly.
To all of our followers, subscribers, Discord members, people who drop in the streams, the Drupals of the world, thank you all so much.
Yeah.
For being here with us, for supporting us, for doing all those things. We say it all the time that it's impossible to like properly say thank you, but honestly, we wouldn't be here without you.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we just appreciate you immensely.
Thanks so much, guys. All the best. Have a happy Hanukkah, a Merry X-Men, a Merry Christmas,
Merry Chrysler.
all the things. All
all
right.
the holidays.
Have a good New Year's too. We'll catch you after that probably. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm doing for my. I always do like a New Year's
New
Eve
Year's stream is going to be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be either or both. Who knows? It's gonna be either I think that UFO 50 game or
okay.
what the hell? Theater Rhythm, Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm,
Oh,
because
yeah,
that's
that's a
always
good one.
fun, right? And I
That's
don't.
a fun
It's
one.
not too like not
too intense.
Intense, yeah. So, but yeah, thanks so much for coming out, guys. If you guys want to check us out live, you can check us out on Twitch. Our names are just up here. You can check out our YouTube channels as well. Be sure to subscribe to DG Online's YouTube channel. It is Dad Gaming Online on YouTube, and we'll see you next year.
See you in 2025. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever you did.
Bye.